and go out better equipped. We commit all facilitators before you, that, Lord, you use them to bless us. Thank you for hearing our prayers. In Jesus' name, amen. Please, thank you. Let's sit.
All right, thank you very much, Reverend Joseph Williams, the Champon. We have the Chancellor of about 158-year-old university here. And we were birthed in 1972, so we are 71 years. But despite our age difference, we share many things in common. First of all, as we mentioned yesterday, we are student-centered. Both of us are student-centered. And secondly, do you know that we share the same mission statement? Who knows that? We have the same motto. You know, the motto of MIT is mens et manus, mind and hand. At KNUST, it's nyansapo or saneno bajunimbam. The wisdom knot is untied by the wise child. So mind and hand. So philosophically, we do have the same motto. Clap for ourselves. So then it means that it's safe to just swap mottos, okay? All right, so thank you very much. My name is Emmanuel Kwasidebra, and I'm going to be your moderator. And I have with me here the Vice President of the KNUST Student Representative Council, Ms. Deborah Abuachi. A round of applause for her. All right, so we'll be going to the program, and we'll invite Professor Jerry John Ponyo to give us the introductory message. And what you should know about Professor Ponyo is that he did his PhD in what we call the vehicular ad hoc networks. And when we talk about that, it's about systems interacting with each other. And so, for instance, the electronic brake system, light, for instance, it will communicate with other vehicles around. So when you're having troubles, you never crash because you're having the electronic brake light. And that is what he did. And so we invite Prof. Ponyo to give us the introductory speech. A round of applause for him.
Thank you. Professor Mrs. Rita Akosia Dixon, my own Vice Chancellor. Special guest of honor, Chancellor Melissa Nobles of MIT. CEO of Vodafone Ghana, Engineer Mrs. Patricia Obonai, Provost of Colleges, Advisory Board Chair, and members of the KNUST Engineering Education Project Board, deans and directors, heads of department, members of convocation, distinguished audience, both in person and online, our friends from the media, our students, and those who have visited us from far and near. Good morning. The KNUST Engineering Education Project, KEEP for short, is an Africa Center of Excellence project supported by the Ghana government through the World Bank. The concept of the Centers of Excellence is supporting African universities with the needed resources to become centers of quality education in Africa for Africans and by Africans. It is hoped that by the successful implementation of this initiative, we can limit the flight of key personnel needed for the development in the global south to the global north. KEEP recognizes the significant role innovation plays in transforming economies. For Africa to take its rightful place globally, it is important that we innovate for the future. Most of the successful innovators achieve success after several failed attempts. The secret to success is ensuring that we never give up, but continue pressing on until victory has been achieved. Today's program creates an opportunity for women leaders in innovation to share their rich experience to inspire the next generation of women innovators. The future belongs to those who can navigate their way through the digital space. The fourth industrial revolution is powered by artificial intelligence, and through the Digital Development Technology Thematic Group of the KNUST Engineering Education Project, a responsible artificial intelligence lab, RAIL for short, has been set up in the Faculty of Electrical and Computer Engineering through funding from IDRC and GIZ to lead the charge in building capacity in Africa to drive the AI revolution. This has become important because even though AI is a game changer, Africa has not even scratched the surface as far as AI interventions in driving key sectors of the economy is concerned. This calls for an all-hands-on-deck approach in building capacity in AI. Women constitute a significant percentage of Africa's population and must be encouraged to venture into digital innovation. One obvious intervention of RAIL is setting up of robotic clubs in some of the senior high schools, some of whom are represented here, and encouraging young women to consider STEM as a career option. KEEP and RAIL are committed to partnering with major stakeholders to ensure that our women are strategically positioned to lead digital innovation for the future. Today's event is historic and groundbreaking, and is hoped that it will become an annual event and eventually even grow into an international conference. I want to thank the Provost of the College of Engineering, my own Provost, Professor
I should have let the one who is going to speak next, and that's Prof. Brichum. You know, he is an expert in water distribution system, so perhaps he would have had better. So I'll let Deborah take over to introduce the next speaker.
Good morning once again, and you are welcome to the best university globally. Up next, I have the singular honor to invite my very own provost, Professor Engineer Kwabena Brichum. He is a professor in the Civil Engineering Department, my department also. His research interest covers hydraulic and water quality modeling of water distribution systems, sanitation technologies, and sustainable water and sanitation service delivery. He teaches engineering economics, water transport and distribution, environmental quality engineering, and research methodology. He's a member of the Ghana Institution of Engineers and also my provost, the provost of the College of Engineering. Let's give it up for him.
The Vice Chancellor of KNUST, Professor Rita Akusia-Dixon. The Chancellor of MIT, Professor Melissa Nobles. The CEO of Vodafone Ghana, Mrs. Patricia Obonai. Provosts present, deans, directors. We also have the President of Women in Science, Technology, Engineering, and Mathematics, Professor Ibok Udro. The Chair of the Advisory Board, KNUST Engineering Education Project. I also have the former Dean of the then School of Engineering, Professor Jackson, who is with us. We also have Dr. Enyonam of WISTEM, who is with us. Colleagues, partners, invited students, media partners, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It is with great pleasure that I deliver the opening remarks for this significant public event, aimed at inspiring the next generation of women innovators. Today, we embark on a journey that seeks to inspire, ignite, empower, and unleash the untapped potential of the next wave of women innovators. A special welcome goes to our esteemed keynote speaker, Chancellor Nobles. We hope you find our country and our university beautiful. To our special guest of honor from industry, Mrs. Patricia Obonai, you are truly honored to have you with us here at KNUST. Let me pause and take it all. The #1 destination for quality education. I am waiting for you. I said the #1 destination. We sincerely thank you all for taking the time to grace this event with your presence. Innovation introduces new ideas, methods, processes, products, and services to make the world a better place by bringing about new changes and improvement. Innovation, therefore, catalyzes progress in all areas. Name it: health, education, agriculture. I think just last week, the government statistician released data which shows that annual inflation in Ghana increased from 42.3% in May to 42.5%. What can we do about it? Innovation is a requirement for survival, for success in the competitive world. We therefore have no choice but to innovate or perish. And which one will we choose? Innovate. In the College of Engineering, we are deeply committed to leading the charge in innovation and shaping the future of technology to meet the needs of society. So to our future women innovators herein gathered, at the College of Engineering, we have the Innovation Center, and I'll tell you, visit our Innovation Center and you get to know that a lot of interesting things are happening there. We have the KNUST Engineering Education Project, and under the project, they also have the RAIL, Responsible Artificial Intelligence Lab. We also have Centers of Excellence, Regional Water and Environmental Sanitation Center, Kumasi, that is RESC, the Regional Transportation Research and Education Center, TREC, the Brew Hammond Energy Center, and a lot of labs. We also have 11 academic departments, and we run 18 undergraduate programs in engineering and 66 postgraduate programs. We all know that throughout history, women have played pivotal roles in shaping the world, often facing adversity and societal barriers. While women have made significant contributions to the various fields, pushing boundaries and defying stereotypes, it is evident that we still have much to do in closing the gender gap and creating equal opportunities for women to thrive in innovation and entrepreneurship. When I look at my college, the College of Engineering, and I look at the statistics, 21% of our undergraduate enrollment and 19% of our postgraduate enrollment are females. This clearly indicates that we have a responsibility to narrow this gap and ensure every voice, idea, dream is heard, embraced, and nurtured. Today, we have gathered here with a singular purpose: to inspire our young women, to cultivate their unique talents, and unleash the creativity they have within them upon the world. Today, we are privileged to host esteemed speakers who have excelled in their respective fields, breaking barriers and leaving a lasting impact. Their stories, experiences, and insights will ignite the flame of ambition and encourage the next generation of women innovators to pursue their dreams fearlessly and to make the world a better place. Let us use this platform to share ideas, discuss, and foster a supportive network that nurtures the talent and potential of all women. Once again, a warm welcome to all attendees, speakers, distinguished guests, panelists. Let us embrace this opportunity to shape a future where women are at the forefront of innovation, leading us towards a brighter and more inclusive tomorrow. Let us inspire, let us empower, and let us change the world. Thank you, and enjoy the enlightening section. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Prof. Brichum. And yesterday we were made to know that it's not enough to know one thing. You have to know many things, and more importantly, know them very well. And as Alexander Pope says, drink deep or taste not the Pyrenean spring, little learning is indeed dangerous. All right, we're going to the next speaker. Professor Mrs. Rita Akusia-Dixon is the Vice Chancellor of the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. And she is an alumna of KNUST. She is the first female to serve as the Vice Chancellor of the KNUST. Now, prior to her appointment as a VC and investiture on the 1st of August 2020, she had served as the 21st Vice Chancellor of KNUST. And following her election to the office in September 2018, she was also the first female to have occupied the position of the Pro-Vice Chancellor of KNUST-TEK. And she was the Dean of the Faculty of Pharmacy, Pharmaceutical Sciences at the College of Health Science. And Professor Dixon graduated from the KNUST with a bachelor's degree in pharmacy in 1994 and acquired an M.Pharm at this same university in pharmacognosy in 1999. In 2003, she was awarded a Commonwealth Scholarship to study for a PhD at King's College, University of London, where she specialized as a phytochemist. The last time when I mentioned phytochemist, someone asked me, who is a phytochemist? And I told him in Chi, that is a Dunsini. But this time, the Dunsini is a Crofasa. And she goes further to search into the therapeutic properties of the plants. So that's the difference between Dunsini and phytochemist. And whose scientific knowledge and research expertise have impacted the international scientific community in terms of training, mentorship, and scientific appraisals. Her research work spans the identification and development of bioactive natural products as standard medicines for the treatment and management of communicable and non-communicable diseases, with emphasis on anti-infective, wound healing, anti-inflammatory, antipyretic against fever, anti-diabetic, leishmaniacidal. Who understands that? So there's a disease called leishmaniasis, and it's very fatal. It causes what we call the black fever or the dundun fever. So I'll be explaining as I go along. Pediculocidal. So pediculicides are used for killing lice, e.g. And secrocidal properties, so Secaria. So I think all of you are aware of behavior. When you urinate and there's blood, yes, it's caused by the schistosoma or the blood fluke. And the child of the blood fluke is called a Secaria, so it's the larva of the blood fluke. And it's also very effective, it can cause disease. So Prof. Dixon has been researching into agents which can kill Secaria. And it's based on an ethnopharmacological knowledge of selective medicinal plants, as well as bioactive bacterial multi-drug resistance, modifying agents, and efflux pump inhibitors. You know, when you're a bacteria, you want to do everything you can to pump. For instance, if somebody takes drug and you're a bacteria, you just want to pump the drugs away. And that's what the efflux pump does. So it's in the bacteria. So it's trying to say that I don't want to die. And when it's an inhibitor, the inhibitor will say you have to die. So the efflux pump is pumping the drugs out, and you have an inhibitor which says, no, the drugs must be in. You have to die. And Prof has been researching into that. She has recently expanded the scope of her research activities to include food security by exploring bioactive natural products with potential as pesticides and larvicides. Her research output includes the isolation and structure elucidation of several bioactive natural products belonging to several of phytochemical classes. She is also keen on phytopharmaceutical analysis and quality control of herbal medicines to ensure their safety and efficacy, with the conviction that Africans can reduce the continent's disease burden by focusing on and exploring the use of its flora and fauna to generate lead compounds and standardized extracts for drug development in the fight against disease. Now, Prof. Dixon's scientific knowledge and research expertise have impacted the international scientific community with research impact of over 24,000 article reads and more than 700 citations in various scientific disciplines. Prof. Dixon is a fellow and a board member of the Pharmacy Council, the Pharmaceutical Society of Ghana, a fellow of the Ghana College of Pharmacists, and a member of the Commonwealth Pharmacists Association. Prof. Dixon is also the President's appointee to the Governing Board of the National Vaccine Institute, Ghana. And Prof. Dixon is also passionate about demystifying STEM programs for girls and training the youth into global transformational leaders through talks and other engagements. She has further demonstrated his passion through her flagship program, the One Student, One Laptop, One Student program, which is the SONSO program, which was instituted to promote digital literacy among needy students at KNUST. The program has given new laptops to 1,854 needy students in 3 years. Clap for her. So Prof Dixon is married with 4 daughters, and she's a devout Christian and serves as a deaconess and a marriage counselor. With a round of applause, let's welcome the Vice Chancellor of the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, Professor Rita Akosua Dixon. Now you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Kwesi, for that very, very elaborate. At one point, I thought we were having a phytochemistry class. I guess with the protocols that have been beautifully established by Professor Ponyo and then the Provost of College of Engineering, Professor Kobnanyako, permit me to stand, I think it's safe, to stand on those protocols and say good morning again to all of you. I said good morning. Good morning. Thank you. And a warm welcome, a special akwaba to a special guest of honor, Chancellor Melissa Nobles, and also to all our guests here. It is indeed a privilege and an honor for you to come, and especially the students who are joining us from the junior high schools and the senior highs. Thank you, and to all your teachers for bringing you here. Indeed, I guess what I picked from the earlier submission is we either decide to innovate or maybe evaporate from the surface of the earth. And I guess we said we will innovate. Universities the world over indeed have a mandate to work towards the attainment of the Sustainable Development Goals, that is the SDGs. SDG 17 encourages the establishment of constructive partnerships for the attainment of the goals. The Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, in living up to this mandate, has embarked on several initiatives to ensure we are making the needed impact in society, working with our partners. It therefore came as no surprise that at the 2023 impact rankings by the Times Higher Education UK, KNUST was adjudged the overall best in quality education, SDG 4. Thank you, thank you, thank you. With a score of 93%. Oh yes, 93%. Thank you very much. This feat cannot in any way be claimed by our singular efforts. We celebrate all our industrial partners, our collaborators, and stakeholders for this collective victory. Do you want to do it for them as well, please? Thank you very much. We are of the continuous opinion that global impact can be attained through establishment of strategic friendships and partnerships. In today's world, collaboration cannot be a luxury anymore. You either collaborate and expand, or you keep to yourself and collapse. We at KNUST have chosen the former. As we strive to excel in our teaching, research, and community work, we will continue to collaborate with global universities whose vision and focus align with that of KNUST. In MIT, we have indeed found a worthy ally and a friend. This week, it has been an absolute honor to have my sister, Chancellor Melissa Nobles, the first female Chancellor of color at MIT, clap for her, clap for her, clap for her, clap for her. Thank you very much. Spending some time with us. For those of us who were able to join us yesterday, you know what happened. Even if you were not here in person, hopefully you were able to join virtually. We will have this great opportunity to listen once again to Chancellor Melissa's amazing leadership journey as we draw lessons of inspiration from her life so far. She was very kind to us yesterday. She shared some with us. She says she has more for today. KNUST continues to work with industry to drive innovation as a significant step towards the attainment of SDG 9. Innovation is at the very core of the strategic plan of KNUST, and the theme for today's event does not only respond to SDG 9, but SDG 5 as well, which focuses on gender and equality. I've always said that there is no point in being able to use both hands and then you decide to tie one of it behind you and you want to just use one. You understand that mathematics? There's no point. So we want to see how we can bring everybody on board. KNUST recognizes a significant gap regarding women in STEM, for which reason we have made various interventions, including our STEM for Girls policy over the years to bridge this gap. Today's event is one of several interventions we're making as a university to ensure women are not left out of the fourth industrial revolution. The theme for today's event, inspiring the next generation of women innovators, is both fitting and appropriate. Through constructive partnerships, we are inspiring young women to lead innovation, explore all their God-given creativity, and take their rightful place as they contribute positively to science, technology, and development, regardless of the barriers. It is critical that we utilize every opportunity to unravel the potential of these young ones to become the best versions of themselves. I am confident that by listening to the stories of these great women assembled here in the Great Hall this morning, we will be adequately strengthened, and I'm referring to our students, and also challenged, and above all, determined to go past any self-doubts that you may be harboring, and tell yourself on a continuing basis that it is possible. I'd like to thank the College of Engineering and the Responsible Artificial Intelligence Lab, RAIL, ably led by Professor Jerry John Ponyo, for all the hard work which has gone into organizing this great event. Of course, coming under the umbrella of KEEP and also the leadership of College of Engineering with Provost Kobna Nyako in the driving seat. Do you want to do it for them? Thank you. I also want to thank my sister and friend, Engineer Mrs. Patricia Obonai, CEO of Vodafone Ghana. There's something I love about this lady. Clap for her, clap for her, clap for her. She is, of course, which university do you think she would go? An alumna of KNUST. And anytime you call Patricia, she's a very, very busy woman. She stops everything she's doing and comes. Patricia, we love you for that. Thank you. Thank you. We are grateful to Wisdom Ghana, ably led by Professor Mrs. Ibok Odro, former provost. Yes. Do it for her. She actually happens to be the former provost of the College of Science. And also our women in engineering Ghana. We are very proud of you for collaborating with the university. May this event not be the last one. May we have more of these. To you, our current and also prospective students, and I'm addressing those coming from the junior high schools and also the senior high schools. And you know we are waiting to receive you. We wish you all the very best in your training and career development. Don't you ever forget that you are one of a kind, and you were made simply for more. So, just keep that chest straight and take life boldly and courageously. On this note, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I wish to once again welcome you all on behalf of management, staff, and students of the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology to this very, very insightful and educative program. Thank you very much for your kind audience.
Thank you, Professor Rita Kusia-Dixon.
Engineering. It was formed to serve as a platform for women engineers to engage and support the next generation of female engineers and partners in Ghana to build successful careers in engineering by creating opportunities and innovative solutions to solve our numerous societal problems. WINE's vision is to be the leading female engineering association that encourages females to achieve their fullest potential, no matter your ethnic group or social background. Our mission is empowering females to study and practice engineering, to position them to soar higher and take advantage of opportunities in the sector. Our core values, and we use the acronym PIN. P stands for proactive, meaning WINE members are bold, they are active, and they are achievers. I stands for insightful, meaning WINE members are discerning in their activities. And N for nurture, meaning WINE members foster and nurture engineering solutions and inspire. So that is PIN. In line with our main core values and objectives that WINE welcome the invitation to collaborate with KNUST as it responded to this call 2 years ago to establish a responsible artificial intelligence lab, the first of its kind in Ghana. WINE welcomed the invitation mainly because we believe that as Africans, we need to adequately prepare our youth to take the center stage in development, deployment, and training of emerging fields such as artificial intelligence and applied data science, in order to produce and implement innovative solutions that remain relevant globally. It is therefore important for us to fully participate in today's event, to be informed with requisite knowledge to inspire our members and the next female innovators. Particularly, I'm interested in the debate on the topic, AI and emerging technologies, a blessing or a curse to higher education. It is my belief that AI and its emerging technologies come with both its advantages and disadvantages. And it is very important that we are aware of them and tactfully embrace the opportunities that it offers in the promotion of diversity and inclusion. It is important for us to educate ourselves on the impact of AI on the higher education and professional practice. We must ensure that we leverage on the benefits of AI and its emerging technologies. We also maintain the balance required to preserve the value of human interaction required to promote diversity and inclusion, and to maintain relevance in the higher education and professional practice globally. We believe that working together on this project and participating in this workshop provides us with the opportunity to learn and implement full AI solutions-oriented initiatives in addressing societal engineering problems. In conclusion, I would like to emphasize that WINE members remain committed in ensuring an effective collaboration with KNUST on this project to ensure that its objectives of promoting the study and practice of engineering amongst women in Ghana is achieved. I also seize this opportunity to specially thank the funding agencies, IGRC, CEDA, and GIZ, for sponsoring and supporting this great initiative. A big thanks also goes to the organizers of this event for a memorable workshop. I wish all a success, and as we deliberate and debate on this topic. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. And I'd like to acknowledge the following personalities. We have Professor Ebenezer Jackson of the Jackson Educational Complex here. Shall we give it to him? Thank you, sir, for coming. We have the first female professor of pharmaceutics in our midst, Professor Marian El Boachi Jesse here. We have Professor Linda Fonjo, is also with the School of Medicine, and she's an expert in preeclampsia. Yes. We have Professor Marian Asanto Ankansa of the Dean of Student Affairs. And Dr. Benita Kumsin is also here, Materials Engineering. And Dr. Vicentia Wemega is also here, Industrial Art. So we have a mix of everything, the artists and the scientists combining. It's very important. Well, the next speaker is Professor Mrs. Ibo Kodro, and she's a professor of post-harvest technology at the Department of Food Science and Technology, Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. She has over 20 years of practical and theoretical experience in food processing, post-harvest management, and value addition. Professor Odro is the former first female provost of the College of Science, KNUST. And she is also the first female provost in the university. She serves on several educational and government institutions, and she is an eminent council member of the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research, Ghana. Professor Odro is currently a mentorship champion in KNUST, where she mentors undergraduates, postgraduates, senior members, and staff. She's a Food System Research Network for Africa mentor, supporting early career scientists as well. and she's also the chairperson for the KNUST Wellness Center. Outside of academia, she's passionate about value-based leadership development and works with different leaders to affect transformation. We will stop here. Prof, take over.
Good morning. For me, it's a beautiful morning and a wonderful day. Can we clap for ourselves? So, I will just relax on the protocol that has been provided by all the speakers. I hope you permit me to do that, yes. Good morning to everyone, and welcome once again. I am honored to be here today as a panelist and the representative of Women in Science, Technology, Engineering, Mathematics, Ghana. Can all the women in science, technology, wisdom be on their feet so that the young ones can see you? Please. And as, please stand, just stand a little bit. And our slogan is, even the art people are in the team. Our slogan is, together we do what? Together we do what? We inspire generation. That's why this room is full of the next generation. So a baton will be handed over to them. Thank you very much, and sit down. First and foremost, I would like to acknowledge our esteemed and astute Vice Chancellor and the chairperson for today's event, Professor Rita Akosua-Dixon. The keynote speaker for this meeting, Professor Melissa Nobles, and our beloved CEO of Vodafone, Mrs. Patricia, engineer, I should add that, Patricia Obodai. Sorry for that. For me, the organizers have done so well, and I say that your dedication and commitment to our education I genuinely appreciate it, and I am grateful for this great opportunity given to me. Today's program is an important event for all of us, as it will provide us with valuable insight and knowledge on a topic that is essential to our education, our nation, and future career and future of humanity. The theme of this program is inspiring the next generation of women innovators. Your presence here today demonstrates your desire to learn and grow, and I'm confident that you will find new ideas, fresh energy, and new partnership to sustain your effort in support of your passion towards innovation. You can have a passion, but you need a platform to support that passion. And today, there's an opportunity for you to tap in and make sure that you run with it. The minds of innovators have transformed our society and our world with life-changing and cutting-edge innovations. The much talk about fourth industrial revolution, which has been seen and used in agriculture, distribution of medical supplies using drones, artificial intelligence, and remote patient monitoring. We have all become aware of the importance of innovation in our lives. These are what I call tech tinkering, and as such, whether we are young learners today or accomplished scholars, understanding the need of innovation is crucial for our future success. Today's gathering has come at an opportune time to educate and urge us as we pursue impactful innovations that will save lives and our planet. From the creation of vaccines to the fight against viruses, to the development of new food crops resistant to the effect of pests and climate change, innovation today more than ever has become key to human welfare and sustainable development. Many women have been at the forefront of some of these great innovation in the past, and many continue to do so. They have shown unique features of dynamism, critical thinking, tenacity, and creativity. There are many women pioneering innovation in their respective domain. We have women programmers, engineers, data scientists and analysis, aviation professionals, educationists, artists, business, CEOs, and one of them is here. Can we celebrate her again? We also have heads of academic institutions can we celebrate her? Professor Rita Kusua-Dixon, the Vice Chancellor, my own Vice Chancellor. I'm very proud of that. We also have the Vice Chancellor of University of Ghana. I know, to be frank, 3 or 4 women Vice Chancellor. Any time I see that, I tell myself, I've given birth. I've given birth. I am satisfied. And only today, we have our keynote speaker, who happens to be the current Chancellor of MIT. Aren't we proud? Can we clap for Professor Noble? Can we see you? Can the young ones see you? Please, can you stand and let them see you? I would also like to remind everyone that this program is more than just simply learning from professionals. It is also about networking and making contact. Please take advantage of this. We have the opportunity to meet and engage with other students and professionals who share our interests and hobbies, and this relationship may be quite beneficial in our present and future careers. Finally, I want to thank everyone for coming, and I hope we all take advantage of this opportunity to learn and improve. I'm looking forward to hearing the presentations and participating in the interactive section, as well as the discussion and connection that will be established as we celebrate this beautiful morning and a wonderful day. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much, Prof. Mrs. Ibok Insa Odro. And I'd like to also acknowledge the presence of Abneje Obriabwa, Professor Abneje Obriabwa, as she is the first female professor of engineering in any technical university. Yes, she is in our presence. She's at the Kumasi Technical University. All right, Deborah, take over.
All right, I hope we are enjoying ourselves so far. Personally, I'm learning a lot. I'm really glad I'm here. So up next, we have our keynote speaker's address, Chancellor Melissa Nobles. Chancellor Melissa Nobles is responsible for overseeing more than 60 interconnected offices at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology that deliver a whole student education by supporting undergraduate and graduate students' academic success, fostering community and well-being, and cultivating personal and intellectual growth. Reporting to the President, the Chancellor and Provost are the Institute's two most senior academic officers. Chancellor Nobles is the class of 1922 Professor of Political Science and has been a member of the MIT faculty since 1995. Wow. Before being an appointed Chancellor in 2021, she served as the Kenan Sahin Dean of the School of Humanities, Arts, and Social Sciences, and as head of the Department in Political Science. Throughout her distinguished career at MIT, Chancellor Noble's leadership has resulted in the creation of a new theater building and a forthcoming music building, which will be a state-of-the-art center for music research, innovation, and performance. She also championed the pioneering MIT and slavery research class, secured new support for graduate students, postdocs, and professorships in SHASS, and launched several labs focused on digital humanities, music technology, election data and science, and climate action. Chancellor Noble's teaching includes graduate courses in transitional justice, ethnic politics and nationalism, as well as undergraduate courses in comparative politics, Latin America studies, ethnic conflict in world politics, and social movements in comparative perspective. That's a lot. Her international comparative research focuses on restorative justice in light of ethnic and racial conflicts. Chancellor Nobles graduated from Brown University with a degree in history and received her MA and PhD in political science from Yale University. She has held fellowships at Boston University's Institute for Race and Social Division and Harvard's Institute of Radcliffe Center for Advanced Study. She has also served on the editorial boards of Polity, American Political Science Review, and Perspectives on Politics, as well as a guest editor for the special issue of Nature. Chancellor Nobles also has been involved in faculty governance at MIT and beyond, serving as an associate chair for the MIT faculty from 2007 to 2009, and vice president for the American Political Science Association. Let's give it up for her.
Good morning, everyone. It is really a great pleasure to be here this morning. I certainly want to say hello to everyone and all of my sisters in the room, as well as my brothers. I'm really excited to be part of what I know is going to be a quite interesting and important discussion, and I look forward to the collective wisdom that by 2020, 2100 will be African. So, if we are thinking about preparing for the future, then we must begin to think about young Africans now. The world will need the people in this room to lead. But in order to lead, we have to be prepared to lead. And in order, we will need scientists, we will need engineers, we need writers, we need artists, we need doctors, and many other occupations that we can't even begin to imagine right now, but will need in the future because of all of the different and continuing changes brought about by scientific and technological discoveries. And it's important that we recognize that women will need to be leading and innovating. So what I hope that I'm saying by just laying out that fact is inspiring. But whether it's inspiring or not, it is a human imperative. We not only want and need young girls and boys to grow up to be innovators and leaders. We don't only want that, we need you to do that. The world needs your input, and so start studying. Take these things quite seriously. So what I'm going to talk about today are 3 lessons from my professional and my personal life, and I hope that what I'm going to talk about, at least certain of my lessons, are things that can be drawn and used here. Not only, they're not limited to MIT. Simply because they started at MIT doesn't mean that they only live there. And in fact, they can be replicated, I think, in certain ways are already being replicated by this great institution. So, lesson number 1, there are 3 lessons. I'm going to go through them pretty quickly. The first is there has to be an effort to create institutional structures that support innovation. Meaning there have to be ways in which people can learn how to become innovators. Innovators aren't born, they are created. So at MIT, we've fostered something that's fairly easy to do, I think, and that is to get students together and to offer competitions in social entrepreneurship. This is something that we started back in the year 2000, so it's now 23 years running. And we get students together, about a group of up to 20 student-led teams, so the students themselves organize themselves, and they decide that there are different important social issues that they want to tackle, things that they're interested in. We provide them with mentors, professors and others, alumni, who can help them. And they have to apply for some money, and they get the monies, and it depends, the amount of money they get depends on how much we have and how much their program needs, and whether we think that what they provided us in their proposal matches the budget that they've given us. Sometimes we get budgets that make no sense. And sometimes we get budgets that make a lot of sense. You know which ones get the money. Those programs have been going on now for this program is going on for 23 years, and we've had several students who have done quite well. And certain of the programs, in fact, 3 of them, have been started by students who have worked here in Ghana. So the lesson here is that although this program was set up for all students, we've encouraged women students particularly to take advantage of it. And so now over 50% of the students who participate are women students. So we didn't say, okay, girls, only you. We said everyone can participate, but women, the young girls decided to participate, and that's been really very important. So the lesson here, there are 2. The first is for faculty, administrators, and leaders, and that includes from a university as well as from the government and industry, who can provide opportunities for these young entrepreneurs. So there's a structure that's set up. And then on the flip side, the lesson for students, especially young students, young girl students, is to take advantage of these opportunities. Now, to do so requires lesson number 3, which I'm going to get through to eventually when we get there. It's called self-confidence. But self-confidence doesn't exist in a vacuum, meaning there has to be other mechanisms that encourage us to do so, and that includes supports from our families, our friends, and from our teachers to encourage us in 10% to 25% by 2024. That's next year. So, School of Science and Technology. They used the data, and they found that MIT women faculty members were creating companies at a significantly lower rate than their male MIT faculty. So you have men faculty and MIT women faculty. The women weren't doing as many companies. And they calculated, using these data, that if women had created companies at the rate of their male counterparts, there would have been 40 more additional biotech companies in existence. So they decided how to fix this. The first was they set up a series of workshops where the participants took classes on technology, they took classes on licensing, they took classes on how to create a patent, how to understand venture capital, and et cetera. So the lesson here is, the sub-lesson is, you're never too old to learn. And you're never too old to be educated. There is always more to learn. To live is to learn. The second is they set up a competition. Set up actually a prize competition for women entrepreneurs, and the participants participated, and they learned how to commercialize their inventions and such. So another lesson is that you have to work together in order to achieve goals. So those things seem pretty important. So lesson 1, you need a structure. Those structures have to be provided by institutions. Lesson 2, women work together. The third is self-confidence. And this might seem the most obvious, and it's the most obvious, but it's sometimes the hardest. But the truth is that everyone needs it. And as I said, it's obvious, but it's obvious because it's true. And it's sometimes very difficult to create, and more importantly, to hold on to when you're getting a lot of signals that aren't supportive of that. So I'll say a bit about my own story here. It wasn't as if I always got encouragement when I was in school. Like many young girls, teachers often assumed that the boy sitting next to me was smarter. I don't know how they knew that. I saw the test scores, but there was always that assumption. And I thought about it, and there was always additionally, obviously I went to school in the United States, where black people are not the majority. So I had to deal with 2 things. I was the girl, and I was the black girl. In a classroom where there were not a lot of both. But I always had confidence that I could do better. Some of that confidence came from a big part of that confidence came from my parents. And it also came from teachers, oftentimes black teachers, who would pull me aside and whisper to me and say, "You're doing well, just keep going." I wanted to believe them. Sometimes I didn't. And I sometimes had difficulty holding on to my confidence over the years. But I stuck with it, and it was hard. And it didn't stop when I got out of school. Went to school, I was young like you all. I went to high school, it continued. I went to college, still had to deal with it. I've had to deal with it as a professor in my own department. It never ends. So my point here is that confidence is something that you have to nurture it, you have to believe in yourself, you have to protect it. And I know that you're going to hear that a lot. But at the end of the day, if you're going to, you don't only need confidence. I mean, we need more than that. It's the things that I described. You need support and all of that. But the first step is self-confidence. And it's especially important if you want to be an innovator, if you want to be someone who's entrepreneurial. I'm sure my panelists are going to talk about this. They're out there doing really incredible things. In order to be an entrepreneur, to do something different, it's hard, it's risky, it's not easy, right? More often than not, entrepreneurs and innovators fail before they succeed. If you're a scientist or an engineer, you well know that. You have to do experiments. Not all experiments succeed. Do you stop after one thing fails? No, you continue and you move on. So part of what this means is that what keeps you going is the maintenance of self-confidence, which is something that you have to, to state the obvious, you have to hold it near and dear. So believing in yourself is fundamental. It is a lifelong project, and it is something that, that you're going to have to work on and protect for as long as you're living. So those are my 3 lessons. They're kind of simple, I hope. I'm not going to offer any tests, but I may ask you, in the course of the questions and answers, if what I'm saying relates to those 3 lessons. And each one of them are important. Each one of them requires that you think about it, that you look at the institutions where you're attending. You go to this great institution. Those of you young students who may be thinking at some point you're going to apply to university, you apply to this school, you're going to look and see, okay, I'm going to meet and I'm going to learn as much as I can. Then when I succeed, I'm going to go out and I'm going to work with people who share my goals, who are as important and concerned about what I want to do as I am. You don't want to work with people who don't share your goals, quite obviously. If you want to go someplace, you have to go with the people, stick with the people who want to go with you. And 3, you always have to believe that you can do it, even when everyone else is telling you that you can. Anyone that you admire, if you ask them, I'm sure they'll tell you. They had a lot of people who were naysaying them or doubting their ability. And for young girls, as I said, the teachers thought, the boys sitting next to me were smarter. The boys thought they were smarter than me. But let me tell you something. I know it's all nonsense. And any woman in here who succeeds knows it's true. You have to believe in yourself and not believe that anyone else is any better or any worse. Simply that we are all working together and I'm as competent as anyone else. So, I'm going to conclude as I began. The world today, and certainly the world of tomorrow, will need innovative, creative, competent, and committed people. And many of these people will come from Africa. And they will be, and of that number, many of them will be African women. So, if we want a world that, where we can lead and succeed in the ways we want to, we need women now to be thinking about entrepreneurship and innovation and learning to be scholars and studying and getting their lessons well so that they can prepare for the world that they will soon be leading. And I'm looking forward to it. So I hope that, and I'm pretty confident, that the students of today will certainly be the innovators and the entrepreneurs of tomorrow. And so with that, I can go back to the United States with the hope and with the hope that I've inspired you all to think seriously about your futures and ways and to know that we are depending on you. The world of the future is depending on what you all do today. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Yes. An applause for him. Another one for her. Okay, so we'll move on to the panel discussion. So we would invite, so Professor Melissa Nobles is already here, so we invite Mrs. Patricia Obonai to also mount the dais, and Professor Mrs. Akusia Dixon and Professor Ibo Kodro. All right, so I will let Deborah tell you something about Patricia Obonai.
So engineer Mrs. Patricia Obonai is a highly accomplished leader with 24 years of experience in telecommunications sector. She has established herself as a prominent figure in Ghana's communications industry, and her achievements and expertise are widely recognized. In 2000, Patricia embarked on her career at Millicom Ghana Limited, known as Tigo, as a network planning engineer and became the first female CTO in Ghana in December 2006. Patricia played an instrumental role in the analog to digital transformation in the telecom industry in Ghana. Patricia Obonai joined Vodafone Ghana in 2011 as the company's director of technology. Over the years, she also ran a number of commercial functions, including director of fixed business and customer operations in the AG director for the consumer business unit. In April 2019, after a decade of Vodafone's presence in Ghana, Patricia became the first Ghanaian chief executive of the company. Let's give it up. As our Vice Chancellor said, she's an alumni. She holds a BSc in Electrical and Electronic Engineering from KNUST. Give it up. Also an executive MBA in project management from the University of Ghana Business School, and has completed executive education programs at the Kellogg School of Management, USA, London Business School, and INSEAD in France. In addition to her professional accomplishments, Patricia is actively involved in various educational and non-profit organizations. She serves on the board of the KNUST Engineering Education Project, that's KEEP, and KNUST Foundation, and an advisory council member to the Global Young Academy, Germany. Patricia Obonai is a passionate advocate for STEM and is deeply committed to supporting young people and women in the digital era. She has shared her insights and expertise at numerous local and international events, including panel discussions at the United Nations General Assembly. Patricia is married with 3 children. Patricia Obonai's leadership have been recognized with over 21 awards, including the Outstanding Woman in Telecommunications at the African Women Awards 2023. And also the Leadership Excellence Award in the telecommunications sector, CEO Summit 2023. There are so many lists of achievements and awards, but we'll get into that during the panel discussion.
All right, thank you very much, Deborah. So we'll go into the panel discussion. We didn't waste time. So then we'll start, since the CV of Patricia Obonai was read last. So since the profile was read last, we would like to start with her. And so we'll move from here to there. So that's what we're going to do. Okay. So first of all, we'd want to ask, what inspired you to pursue this leadership role? Because you have so many in your kitty. What inspired you to do that?
So good morning to everyone and to my distinguished panelists. It's a delight to be here. KNUST is home to me, so I'm feeling very welcome already. Thank you for having me. So I guess it started from childhood. I grew up with my mother. I was raised by my mother with my 3 siblings from my mother's side. And she allowed us to be what we wanted to be. It was, if you were interested in science, then pursue science. I'm a twin, and my twin sister pursued arts, and she didn't stop us. My sister, after us, decided to open a school and be an entrepreneur, and the last one decided to go into finance, and she said, it's fine. So we've never grown up with any restrictions around us. It's been pursue, keep going, and I think that has really helped me.
Very much, and I'll come to Prof. Ibokodro and for her to tell us what also inspired her into this leadership role.
Well, it's also from home. In our home, there was no male or female. We all did the same, so I could climb trees. I was not stopped. But I could run, so I was a sport lady. My dad would allow me to go and do that. So he didn't restrict me at any point in my growth. It also happens that I lost my mom when I was in primary 6. So it means that I have to take care of my brothers, the 3 boys. So I had 3 brothers. So daddy was left to look after us. And daddy made sure we were at school. So I had to become mother very early. And that means that you have to start organizing things, getting them to school, and so on. So working with daddy, giving me the opportunity to do what I'm supposed to do, I think made leading was, became very easy because I had that support system. So it was from home. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So we'll move on to Professor Mrs. Akusu-Adikson. We've heard so much today, but of course we want to hear what really inspired you to assume this leadership role.
Thank you very much. Of course, everything will begin from home, as we have heard from our 2 earlier panelists. For me, being raised in a polygamous home where we had to survive, siblings, 17 of us, yes. On my mother's side, I'm the 10th. Right from infancy. And you know, for those of us, I'm not sure whether the little ones who know, but those of us who are used to this kind of environment, you know, then that is a space that you have to survive. And just having Papa, of course, the ruler of the home, busy with his other things, I was left with my mother. My mother, and let me add that both my parents did not have the benefit of a formal education. My father was a carpenter by profession. He trained and worked with the then Public Works Department, PWD. But apart from the evening school, that the importance of education and made sure that she sacrificed everything that she can sacrifice to ensure that I had some education. And you know, just being with her, and my mom was all sorts of things. And these days when I think about her and I hear the word entrepreneurship, Then I'm like, then this woman was a cocktail. I'm like, then this woman was a cocktail of an entrepreneur. She was a farmer, she was a trader, she was a seamstress. She sold everything apart from human beings, all in aid of helping her to look after her family. During the vacations, she would take me to the village where grandma was. And then especially in the village, you come across these old ladies, old men, just, there is an accident, somebody gets a cut here and then, they just go to the corner of the backyard garden, grab some herbs, just squeeze it, and then the juice goes on the cut, blood oozing has stopped. So that was when I started thinking as a child about science. And indeed, that is what led me when I had to choose what I wanted to do in secondary school. I said I would read science. And then on and on and on to the university. Even now, and at that time, everybody coming to the university wants to be a medical person. I wanted to become a pharmacist. Because my inspiration was, what was it in those herbs that had the magic to do what I saw happening? And when I decided to go into phytochemistry, and phytochemist and Squaresy puts it, for me that has been the inspiration. Now coming to leadership, I am inspired by the fact that everything will rise and fall on leadership. And if we can't have leaders, then we cannot have a society. And for me, this journey, that I have been on has been centered on 3 beliefs. Number 1, absolute and complete belief in the Almighty God. So personally, I have enjoyed a very, very, if you like, grace, mercy, super-saturated journey. Number 2, believe in people. Because from the cradle to the grave, I believe that everything you need people to be able to accomplish them. And then number 3, and thank you, Madam Chancellor, for laying emphasis on building the confidence code of both men and women, boys and girls, everybody. Believe in myself. Taking all the opportunities that I get. And interestingly, let me say this. It's not all the opportunities that will appear as opportunities. More often than not, they will appear or come clothed in this cloth I call challenges. But when you go, when you are patient and you work through those challenges, then the opportunities are there. So I have always believed in people, and I've been inspired that if I have been able to be assisted to get to this far, then I have that responsibility towards humanity to also inspire the next generation. That is why I have a special love for the youth of this country. I just love to spend time with the youth. And maybe that is why I'm a teacher. I think I will end it here. Thank you very much.
Over to you, Prof.
The question about...
Yes, tell us your inspiration.
Oh, inspiration.
Yes.
Like everyone, I'll just say also my family, my parents. I said a bit about this, but my parents were raised in the American South, in Tennessee, in South Carolina, in segregated schools. That was during the time in the United States when blacks and whites were segregated. And my parents went to segregated schools as well as universities. My parents did both go to black organized universities which didn't have anywhere near the money that they should have gotten from the state, but nonetheless, and both of my parents believed deeply in education. And like one of my colleagues, my mother also passed when I was quite young. I was 10 years old when my mother died, and so my father and my brother and I, we had to go on without her. But education was really crucially important to us as well. Both of my parents believed deeply in it, and I do remember my parents worked, my mother would work 8 till whatever the time was, and my father was working at night. So I never saw my parents at the same time in the house, because but my father would pick me and my brother up from school, and he would, I remember sitting on his lap, and he would make me read, go over and over, and I would mess up, and he'd say, "Melissa," he wouldn't hit me, but he would be, again. I was like, oh God. So just to get through those lessons with my father, and this was quite aside from whatever I was learning in school. So from very early on, my parents impressed upon me the importance of education, in part because they had to deal with this segregation in their own lives, and we didn't know, this was before the Civil Rights Movement, what life in America would be like.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. I'd like to know, and I'm sure some of you would like to know too, it seems they all have a strong support system from home. What do you do when you don't have that? How do you self-motivate yourself? We can start from Chancellor Nobles. How do you self-motivate yourself if you don't have a strong support system from home?
You're right. That's a very difficult question, and it's certainly true that even if you're in a home, it may not always get the support that you need. And so one of the things that I would recommend, and I look forward to my panelists also, is when I lost my mother, of course I had my grandmother, but then there were other women who I sought out, women especially, who weren't related to me, but they were like my aunties. They were self-adopted, because I call them that, and looked for them for guidance. So family is, of course, people with whom you're born, but also family are people who become part of your lives. And if you find people who can give you guidance, and they are open and accepting of that, and you to them, go for it. I mean, ask for it. You ask for what you need. And over my life, I've met many women who I've adopted as mothers, in addition to my own family, to give me the guidance that I needed.
Absolutely. All right. Can I? Yes. Thank you very much. And to add to what Melissa just said, indeed, it does not necessarily have to be your biological parents. And let me say that, yes, I mentioned my mother, having to do all sorts of things to look after me through school. But let me be very, very quickly add that I had to depend on a lot of support systems, community, other family members, even non-family members. And that is why we are always talking about mentorship, mentorship, and mentorship. As I sit here, even in this current role, and let me quickly chip this in, I lost my mom 1 year into my PhD. That was 2003. But you were not born, eh? I have so many mothers who have stood by me. I have so many fathers, so many uncles who have been part of my journey, so many aunties. And I'm not referring to biological, or just biologicals, who have stood by me. Some of them I even just got to know in the university, who have been part and parcel of my journey. How did I get them? When you need help, please, you are not afraid to ask for help. It's part of the confidence code that the speaker laid emphasis on. When you realize that this is the group of people, that teacher, that friend's parents are able to assist, don't be afraid to ask for help. You are entitled to support so that you knock on the doors, the appropriate doors, not doors that will lead you to any abusive environment, please. But doors and people who are ready, willing to support. I enjoyed that. And even now, I am still enjoying this mentorship. There are a lot of men and women who are keeping an eye on what I do, giving me feedback, and I want to use the opportunity to say I salute them all. I thank them very much, because you can clap for them if you want to. Yes. Yes. There is no way I would have been able to be where I am today by the grace of God. But you know, God has to use people, and these people are around you. So look for them. And also have a strong belief in that God who holds it all together. And pray to him to lead you to these people who are willing to help, because there are many, many of such people. And that is why in our university, we have all these support systems also available. Kwesi touched on the support one needy student with one laptop. That's not the only support we give. A lot of support we have. Scholarships, working with our partners, and so on and so forth. There is help available. So if you do not have a parent, a father, a mother who can support, please, help is around. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You are entitled to support. You are entitled. You are entitled. Yes. Please, we'd like to hear your stories too. Okay. How would you self-motivate yourself if you don't have a strong support system from home?
Well, one of the things that has helped me is my identity. My identity in Christ. I will say it very clear. That made me to know that I cannot be anybody apart from what God made me. And even in my class, when I go to the class, I'll show my student these 5 fingers. I ask them, are they the same? When I say so, they laugh. And I said, anytime you want to lick soup, which of the fingers respond? And we will all go this way. You can't use this. The time I decide to use this, I will start getting pain. So my uniqueness is preserved. Is what? Preserved. The voices are so many. When those voices are coming, they have to bounce back because I am seated where I know who I am. Are you getting it? My parents made sure they sowed that into us, that you know your background. I also left my dad when I was in Form 3. So you can imagine that I was very close to him. And so when he left, I had to live with people from one family member to the other family member, waking up early, doing this. So all those processes is what is producing the product you're seeing. One of the problems we have is that we don't want to go through the processes. Are you getting it? Those processes build resilience, bring strength, and so you can stand anything. Apart from that, have a strong fellowship, friends, and one of the key people I derive strength from, my students. If you come to my office, they are always there because I can call them and they will support. And then my husband. Really, I had to leave. I had a baby 3 months. I got the scholarship when I delivered. I had to leave the family and leave the baby at 3 months. And you can imagine, when I got to my school, I'll be looking at the wall. Who brought me here? Who brought me here? I will cry. Who brought me here? All those build strength. Build what? Strength. But the good news was that every day, my husband makes sure a letter was in my pigeonhole. Not this time you have WhatsApp and you can't do. Every day, there was a letter in the pigeonhole. All this helped to build my word, confidence in my goals. Thank you.
I think very wonderful thoughts have been shared, so let me add to it instead of repeating the points. You know, your teachers have been very deliberate in bringing you here. KNUST has organized this program, and amazing women on this panel have said things to you. How many of you have written anything? This doesn't depend on your mother. It doesn't matter whether you have a mother at home or not. This is you now deciding that you want to do something for yourself. You know, they say you will be born, you may be born poor, but to remain poor is a choice. It is important that it doesn't matter the background. That if I tell you mine, you'll be surprised. I've sold everything you can imagine. It doesn't matter the background. It's about now deciding that having heard these stories, having seen your teacher, having seen that woman in your community, having heard about the CEO of Vodafone, I want to become. It's a decision that you make. And from that decision, you start being very deliberate because society may not help you. So you have to help yourself. When I was here in KNUST, some of my colleagues had enough money to travel during the vacation. I couldn't afford it. What did I do? I had to work every vacation. This didn't mean that my mother would push me. I had to push myself. By the time I was leaving this campus, I had my national service sorted, and I knew by the time I finished national service, I had an offer letter from the company. This is a personal choice that you make. And in many times, I have mentors and coaches, as Prof said, even at this time, I still have people I go to and talk to. This doesn't matter whether you come from a good background or not. It's a decision that you make. And one of them said to me, you have to be, you know, when you encounter a situation, you have options. Every time you have options. So when you fold your arms and look at the circumstance around you, if you have walked to school more than I have walked to school, they will clap for you. But you don't have to look at the circumstance around you and fold yourself and say, I cannot become. Be very, very deliberate. And my second advice is to our teachers and our caregivers. We should be conscious of the people who come around us. And I'm very conscious of this when I go into my work environment. People come from very different backgrounds, and they come with all the challenges in their homes and the circumstances under which they are being raised. It is our responsibility to role model. It's our responsibility to make life more real to them than the clouds that we paint, which makes them struggle. And then they start doubting themselves. You know, when we also contribute our quota, and we are very deliberate about how are you, what's going on with you, what courses do you want to pursue in school, why are you choosing this course, etc., etc. You will help shape this child who needs self-motivation.
Oh, I thank you very much. The first CTO and the first CEO of Vodafone Ghana. A round of applause for her again. In 1966, James Brown recorded a song, It's a Man's World. And when it comes to science, yes, there's a stereotype out there, that's a man's world. We want to start with you, Mrs. Engineer Patricia Bonai. There's that notion, but how did that play out in your own career and the words you have for us?
Okay, so as I said, I grew up in a place where I was allowed to pursue, and frankly, with all respect to everybody doing the humanities, I just couldn't. I went for what my easiest path was, which was physics, chemistry, math, and statistics. That was mine. I just loved it. You go, write the math, underline the answer, and it's okay, right? You don't have to read everything. So that was me, and that's how I developed the love for science and pursued it to the end. And I discovered as I was going through it, through the internships, I was able to understand and make meaning of the things that I was studying in school. Depending on the environment in which you are raised, you would drive that notion that it is a man's world, etc., right? But I think it's important that we position it. You know, when you go into a room and we talk, okay, we say we're having a discussion on science, the first thing you would say is a woman first. But by the time she's done speaking, you should have heard a professional. We don't have to reinforce the fact that women are not able to contribute to the conversation and it is a man's world. By the time she's finished this, and this is why I encourage the young ladies, your competence must go before you all the time. People will have their biases and you cannot change it. That's how they've been raised. However, knowledge and competence is a powerful weapon to deal with prejudices. So when people say it's a man's world, shut your ears. Take your knowledge in the science, your love for maths, your love for statistics, your love for engineering, and bring it to the table. Study hard. That's what you can do for yourself. And break that notion that it's a man's world. It is not a man's world. 50% of the population are women. If men are contributing significantly to the cause of this generation, what about the contribution of the remaining 50%? And I keep saying this. We have to tap into it. But if you keep allowing the prejudices, and the biases are sometimes very conscious and sometimes very unconscious. You go around the board table and you feel it. You know, you feel it, that people have doubts whether this woman can contribute to this science conversation, right? But by the time you are done putting your competence on the table, that environment changes. And we owe it to ourselves as women to do that for ourselves. I think the second one is our institutions. Yes, we have to role model. I ask that we bring, so this next month we're bringing 100 girls into our company. And by the end of the year, we'll have touched 600 girls. And the reason we do this is for them to see real people practicing science. It is important that they experience it and they touch it. So I encourage, just as I got the encouragement to get my internships done, which is what kept me in engineering, I encourage the institutions, just like you've brought them here today, expose these young girls to see, to touch. When they come next month, they will touch robots, they will see drones, they will see women building apps, and they will be inspired. And I think the last thing is, for women who are in science today, I didn't have that benefit. Please, let's be available. Let's make ourselves available to young people to see. People believe what they see. So if they see that this woman pursued science and still got a husband, this woman pursued science and she's still sane, you know, she's normal, it would encourage the women to know that they can pursue it as well. You know, for me, that's very important.
And Prof. were you ever bullied by the boys? Prof?
Me? Oh no, I didn't listen to that.
Okay.
You said?
And I was asking if you were ever bullied by the boys.
Oh, I have not, to be frank, I've never felt bullied at all, because I am part of them. You see?
She was climbing trees, so...
One of the key issues, when I was growing, I didn't know about male, female. Because my environment did not create that. So it was when I was going for positions. One of the positions that baffled me was the provost position. When I entered the room, and then the chairperson took my document and showed it to me. Is that yours? I said, yes. So I pulled mine out of the bag, and he saw it. He just smiled. But there was someone there who said that, why is Mrs. not in your name? You are a feminist. Then I just told him, I said, you know, my husband saw it and did not comment. And this position was not meant to carry, they said that you must be a professor. They didn't say you must be Mrs. And they all looked at me. Yes. To be frank, they saw that the confidence was oozing so powerful, they couldn't stop me. Then he insisted, you are a feminist. I said, I'm not a feminist. I'm someone who loves men and what? Women. And my husband doesn't frighten me. My dad didn't frighten me. So they were now comfort. Then all of them were also male on the platform. So they asked me, are you afraid of us? I said, how can I be afraid of you? Really, they were shocked. How? Because I never experienced these issues. I grew up to be myself. So I was allowed to be myself. Is that okay? So please, these choices, I think, is a mindset. And your mind will determine what you do. When I entered that room, I didn't go there with a mindset I was a man or a woman. It was about the position. And I'm competing for a position not because I'm a man or a woman. That settles everything. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ibo Kudro. So we come to first Vice Chancellor. First Vice Chancellor. Stereotyping in science. How did it play out?
Thank you very much. Professor Ibo Kudro, I would say, was probably more luckier than I was in terms of the stereotypes. So I grew up in an environment where the voices that you're hearing on a daily basis, the proverbs, especially the proverbs, are constantly reminding you that, and I'll share some of them with you, that this is the domain of men. That is the domain of women. But you know what? So for example, growing up, these are some of the voices I heard. And I'll say it in the local dialect, and then I'll try and do a brief translation. So for example, one of it goes like this. A woman sells garden eggs, not gunpowder. Are you familiar with that? At your age, you're also familiar. I thought now it's gone down a bit. It hasn't gone down, but at least it has improved. When a woman buys a gun, where does it stay? It stays in the man's room or house. So these voices, stereotypes, and I was hoping that because of how things have improved, and I think we have moved a bit on now, but it's interesting to hear the students still saying it's there. These are some of the voices that some of us heard. These stereotypes, let's be frank, we came to meet them ingrained in history with us. And I'm not sure, I cannot promise you whether we will be able to let it die out completely before we leave the surface of the earth. So what decision do we take? This is my position, and this has been my position. I have always believed that science is for all of us. I mean, when you wake up from bed, through the bathroom, through the kitchen, through wherever you are going to, are we not doing science? Your very existence, all the blood, the arteries, the veins, the organs, the systems that God has, graciously put together. Is it not science? So I think that is how I dealt with it. I said, science is for all of us. And then I keep saying, and I say it to you, the students, look, until somebody comes to you and is very, very confident that a chemistry mind has been manufactured, a physics, a solely physics mind has been manufactured, biology mind, what do you call, social science, whatever it is mind, please, just know that regardless of the stereotypes, you can do it. And I kept telling myself that, look, really, 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 I think the mind has no sex. It shouldn't. Yes. It's all about what you want to do. So you know what? If that saying is all over, we agree. But you can either prove that to be a truism or an untruth, depending on what attitude you want to adopt. You see the ladies here, she's a social scientist. We've all done science in one way or the other. At least, the panelist here this morning is telling you, the students, that it is possible. So please, at no point in time should you let anybody, it doesn't matter where the person is coming from, deceive you into thinking that as for you, because of a certain organ you are wearing down there somewhere, you are not able to avail yourself to this or that knowledge or program. And tell yourself on a daily basis that yes, you can. And I think you can too. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Prof. Melissa Nobles, of course, you did history at Brown University, and you are a political scientist, but you are an academic administrator. But we want to know from your experience, your mentees, how has that played out, the stereotyping when it comes to science?
Thank you. Well, I can't add too much more to what my fellow panelists have said because they said it so well. But it's clear that there are lots of stereotypes that continue about men and women. All you have to do is watch TV to see it. What women are expected to think about and do and occupy themselves, and what men are. Power is for men, supposedly, and we're there doing the work in the background and giving them the credit. But the truth is that we are as competent as anyone, and I just want to just reinforce what Patricia said at the beginning. You can't change people's ideas about that. I'm in a place, as you all know, there are not a lot of black people, not a lot of women. I can't change their views about that. All I can do is be competent and let them know that if they want good leadership, they choose me. And if they want someone who's competent, they would choose me. If they want someone else, well, then that's their choice. But I would always go in knowing that my job is to do the best that I can do, that I have to be as well-trained, as well-educated, and have confidence in myself. And there will be people who will have confidence in you, and you gravitate towards those people. But the main thing is let your competence do the work.
Thank you so much. I'd like to know, what challenges have you faced and how did you overcome them? How did they propel you to the top? Because Prof Rita, you said challenges. Yes. We'll go around though.
All right.
But you said opportunities come clothed as challenges.
That's right.
So how do we let it propel us to who we want to become?
All right. Thank you very much. Let's be very, very clear on this. Challenges are part of life. And you know, and especially when you are a leader, you have a certain life cycle. You either are coming out of one challenge or getting ready to enter into another. That is very real. So please, don't take any challenges that come your way or in your life personal. Don't personalize it at all. Rather, what you should be looking out for is, how do I deal with them? How, and you know, interestingly, there have been so many people that have gone ahead of you who have dealt with sometimes even some of the exact challenges that you are dealing with. Personally, I love to read autographies. And my reason for reading what the life of other people, other leaders are, is simple. All these leaders, all these people, they dealt with human beings. And I'm yet to read one that will start from chapter 1 all through the end and didn't mention any challenge. More often than not, what will even make you want to continue to read are how the challenges that came their way and how they dealt with them. Let's be very clear. For so long as you would you would be among human beings, and as a leader, one of the greatest challenges that you would encounter and must deal with and must work on is dealing and managing human beings. That is number one on the list. If you're able to sort that out, and how do you do that? That is the question. Number one, first of all, just accept that the people that you are working with, who all the challenges will come out from, more often than not, will also be the source of the solution to those challenges. I love one of my readers, my authors, Nancy Klein, and she's written this book she calls Time to lead or time to listen? And this is what she says. She says that the mind that has the problem also has the solution. So normally when somebody comes to me with all the challenges, you listen. And that is one attribute of a good leader. You must be able to listen. You listen, you listen, you listen. The next question, and they know, what do you think? And interestingly, with all the challenges that they brought, by the time they are leaving, sometimes all you need to do is, oh, I agree with you. Go on. Go and do what you said you will do. And you just add your confidence to his or hers, and bingo, we are all singing hymns. Challenges will not, we can't help but have them. Your soft skills must work. Your people's skills. These days, when the institutions are interviewing, yes, technical know-how, that's true, but you may have all the technical know-how, But when your soft skills, you're dealing, the tools to manage human beings don't work, there will be problems. And we all know now, leadership is moving from muscles, is moving from, where again, command and control, is moving from all sorts of places to relationships. So, the way to overcome these challenges as you move and navigate through life is to ensure that your soft skills are working. And for our students, and I think I must make it meaningful to them, when I say soft skills at your level, your manners must work. Even when you really don't, are not on the same wavelength with the teacher, your communication in terms of your body language, non-verbal, even before the verbal one comes, very important. So I would end by saying that challenges will forever be with us. And I'm not a prophet of doom. That is how life has been structured. But we must use the skills that God has endowed us with. And also, when we are not too sure, when the challenges are around us, please ask questions. Let me end with this. Look, there are 3 questions that we must train ourselves to adapt to. Anytime any challenge comes, first of all, ask, what is the challenge? What is the actual challenge? You know, sometimes we just run around helter-skelter, and when we ask, what is the problem? Half of the people don't even know what the problem is, but we are all running. What is the problem? Number 2, what is the source? What is causing that challenge, that problem? Number 3, in your estimation, what are some of the solutions to those challenges, those problems? What are some of the options available? Number 4, if we give the decision to you, which option would you place as number 1? And then look for the resources and deal with them. Thank you very much.
Thank you too. Prof. Melissa, how would you deal with challenges and how would you let it propel you?
Thank you. So I think I'll just say a bit about the biggest challenge that we all face, and certainly as students, and I face it still, we all face, is failure. 2 things, failure and when you're wrong. And they're not always the same. So you may be working on something and you fail, and you wonder if you should go on, if it's worth it. So some part of it is going back to what we've all been talking about, having self-confidence and knowing that you can get over it. But you only can correct the failure once you figure out what you did wrong. So it takes sometimes it's hard to look back and think about something that you've done wrong, something that you said, talking now here about connecting to soft skills, working with people, all of those things requires, anytime you have to think that I did something wrong and I failed, it can sometimes be hard to get back up and decide you're going to go back at it again. But failure is more often happens in life than success. So what matters in failure is not that you fail, but how you get up from that. I know people say that often, but it's really true. We're back to all the things we've been saying all morning. It's about choice, making choices about how you understand the challenge that's in front of you, and not giving up if you fail. You cannot give up.
Okay, so in my situation, I think every level of my career has presented its own unique challenges. As they say, every level has its own demons. So I think in the first 5 years of my career, it was more about learning, acquiring knowledge, which meant that it required sacrifice. There's no part of this country I don't know, and it's because every time the engineers went out to put up the mast, they didn't care whether you were a woman or not, they didn't care whether you had an event or not, they didn't care whether you had to cook over the weekend. It's time to go and commission the site at Pukwasi. You say you want to be an engineer, let's go. We were like many men and just 2 of us as female engineers, and it didn't matter. So at that point of my career, the challenge was there, but it was about sacrifice. I think as a mother, as a working woman in the middle age of my career, trying to prove and become a manager, etc., it was, and also pursuing my master's, it was about being disciplined in terms of time management. Finding time for my husband, we had just gotten married, now we have 2 kids, how to balance that and make sure everybody has a bit of your time. But at that same time, it was at the birth of my second son that I became a technology director. And at one point, I had to be in Sweden because we had to buy new equipment, and as a director, I had to be there to make the decision. And my baby was 4 months old. So I left the baby at home with milk, and I went with my breast pump. Because at that time, your breast will still be full, and it will be so hard by evening, you need to pump the milk and pour it out. And at that time, you choose to stay at home or make an adjustment in your life. And it's at that point where I decided to accept external support. I had lost my mom, so I accepted my mother-in-law to come in and help. And I know most of you say your mothers-in-law are witches, etc. But mine came to live in my house because at that point in my career, I needed to accept support. So sacrifice at a stage, at a certain point, it was about accepting external support. We had to actually move homes. When I joined Vodafone, we were living in a place that was free, but we moved to a place that was paid because it was closer to my house. And that was how much sacrifice and dedication I had to put in at that time so that I could get in a living nanny as well. When I traveled, I traveled so many times. During that stage of my travel, then somebody will be at home taking care of my kids. And it meant I had to do that. But now in the CEO role, I guess moving from technology into the CEO role, one of the changes I had to make was not leaving what I knew in technology, but broadening my knowledge and accepting commercial roles. It was a major challenge because I loved what I was doing. But if I wanted to be the leader of the business, then I needed to understand the different functions. And that's why I had to move into a commercial role. So getting into the CEO role, as I said, every level has its own demons. The challenge you would face, and if it's a business like mine, where government has 30% shares in the company, you have different stakeholders that you manage. We have 2 subsidiaries. We have the mobile money services business, and then we have a wholesale business, and each of them has a board. And each of these boards has government representatives on it, and they are very detailed. And you have to be on top of your job, so your head is in what you're doing. However, your main job as a CEO is also to manage relationships. So you have to keep the external also very engaged, and it's very important that you don't miss out on the 2. Don't forget your home is also waiting for you. So keeping your business running, managing external relationships, understanding your customers. Because don't forget, your team are so busy working that sometimes they don't get to see what you would see as a leader, right? Every time, probably twice a day or once a day, I go on social media. I follow every channel that Vodafone has, and I read what our customers have. If you are not very intentional and very deliberate about your leadership style, you will miss out on what is important. I think the last one, and probably the most important, maybe the last but one, forgive me. The last but one is to understand why you are in that position of influence, right? At that stage as a leader, it's not just about you. If you finish, one of my bosses told me that if I leave this job and all I have done is to turn the company around, he would give me a B+. But if I've made impact on the lives of young people like you, then I would have succeeded. It's very important that when you become a leader, you get to a certain level, it's no longer about you. It's about how you impact the next generation. And that is why it was so easy for me to accept to come here. And I think the last one, and most of our speakers have said it, I don't know how I survive without God. I mean, I don't know what you take to school, what you take to work, but I take God. Because without the grace of God, it will be difficult to see the things that you see today. Some of the things you don't see, but there's a hidden hand that covers you and reveals things to you and helps you to lead. And those are the ways that I managed to get through my challenges.
Thank you very much. So we'll end with Prof. Mrs. Ibokodro.
Well, I don't know what to say, but to follow up on that, because I have that root in Christ, there's a challenge of loneliness and rejection. Loneliness and what? Rejection. And I have to use those two as a reflection period for my life, because a time comes very lonely, and that is something that you have to look back to the caller who asked you to go in. I always linked it up to that. And the good news with academic is that you start learning rejection when they reject your papers. Are you getting? But we have never carried it on to the real life. Are you getting it? When you send your first publication and they dismantle it and then send it back to you, you take it for granted. But as you climb, rejection becomes very serious. So I used that experience of paper rejection to build up my stamina, that when rejection comes, I have already had it. So what do I do? So I have to engage friends, engage my innermost being. That's a reflection period, and then moved on. And then criticisms. There are people, whether you turn your head upside down or dance with your leg up, and anything you do, they will talk. So I have to also settle that with myself. When I reflect and I know what I did came from a heart that cares, I just relax and continue. So rejection, criticism, and loneliness is part of leadership. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much, panel. So it's question time. Anyone with a question? Our panelists are here to answer all your questions. So we have the SHS, JHS around. And so anybody with a question, we are ready for you. So you can raise your hands and I'll come there and give you the mic so that you can ask the question. Thank you very much. So please, you mention your name, at least you introduce yourself and you ask the question. Thank you.
First of all, I wish to thank the panel. This was wonderful. It's important that we heard everything you said today. And I don't have a real question, but an observation, and hope that you will respond to my observation. What I see in all of you sitting there is an integrity that says that you know it when you see it, you move on it, and you don't let go. So what is the role of integrity in your lives?
Thank you very much. So we'll take some few questions and we'll move to them. So I think we're told that we have some. Yeah, you want to ask a question, right? Yes. So move, get a mic.
Please, please, leadership, with the leadership and the interface, the problem that comes with Please, the problems that you face as a leader, that relates in terms of your religion. I'm asking how you can also deal with those ones.
That's a very good question. Okay. So for the JHS pupils, if you don't want to speak, you can write it and you can give it to me. We can do that, all right? All right, so let's go to the next question.
My question is, due to the challenges, now you spoke about the peer pressure. Since we are in the teens, we should have advice on that. That will help us in our life too.
So that's on peer pressure. So we'll take one more question, then we'll move to our panel.
I'd like to thank you all for a wonderful discussion that you've given us. You've advised us very well. Please, one challenge I have with my students is a lot of them complain that the financial handicaps that they are really going through, that makes them feel like they cannot make it. Even coming to school, getting something to eat. So when you're facing challenges like that, financial at home, and your parents also don't really pay attention to you as a child, how would you be able to cope? And how would you be able to motivate and stay strong? Thank you.
Thank you very much. So we have our lady here. She's going to ask the last question, then we'll move on to panel.
My name is Osei Sandra. I'm asking that if you don't have anybody to motivate you, how can you motivate yourself? If, let's say, even your parents have left you to do your own things and you don't have anybody to help you, how can you cope with that? Thank you.
Thank you very much. So then we'll move to the panel to answer the questions, then we can go to the next set of questions. So Prof. Ibok, Isobunai, I think if you want to start for us, we'll be very happy.
Okay, integrity was the first question. Personally, my understanding of integrity is that I should be the same privately and publicly. So with that in mind, I try my best to do that. So I'm not somebody who pretends. And I think in doing that, I've also gotten into a lot of trouble because you like to say what it is, as it is. You see green and you call it green. Some people can see green, but they have a way of diplomatically doing it. So with integrity, you have to really understand yourself. As I said, my identity makes me be public and private. I match my thoughts so that I can reflect. So peer pressure, like my friend said, I remember as a young person, when my friends are going this way, I intentionally go this way. Intentionally. Because I was trying to build capacity for peer pressure. Because I knew it was coming and the voices are loud. So I had to be intentional and deliberate. It's not easy. But as you do them daily, they become part of you. And that's why I talk about loneliness and what? Rejection. Because if you don't move in the same direction, you have a backlash. So therefore, you have to look back. Do you want to be accepted for something you're not? Or you want to be accepted for who you are? And that settles my heart when it comes to that. That's what I have to say on that. Thank you.
So let me add quickly to the point on integrity, and then I'll probably take the question on religion. So I always say this to people that you can take my money, take everything that I have, but if you touch my integrity, I'll sue you. Because you see, it's the only thing that you have to yourself. And you work so hard, you put in so much, and then somebody one day just throws it away because you allowed it. When you go into an environment, it is important that you make your principles known. Once your principles are known, nobody comes to you to say, we want to forge documents. There's a bribe I need you to take, because they respect you for who you are. It's when you are not clear on when you stand. This is where people test you and hope that it will work. Just on the point you made on peer pressure, why do your friends come to you to taste alcohol? Why do they come to you to try to smoke? Because they don't know what you stand for. So be very clear if you want to be a person of integrity, that people know what you stand for, and then they will not bring it close to you, because if they destroy it, it's all you have. As a leader, your job is to build relationships and influence people so that they can make the decisions and run the company you have. If people don't trust you because you've lost integrity, you will say things, when they see you on TV, they're like, see what she's saying, because you've lost trust. So you must be a person of your word. When you say something, you must stand by it. And that's why if a politician lies, later when he comes up, the videos are playing, and like, are you not the same person who said this? It's because the society values integrity, whether we like it or not. So its core is very important. I think it's a very great point that you made. On religion, let me tell you my experience. I think it depends on the level, the stage of your career. We can pretend, I can sit and advise you to just walk away anytime anybody says something about your religion. Depending on the level of your state, like in your school, this is the school that your parents have asked you to go to. If your teacher says something against the God you serve, against the Christ you believe in, against Muhammad, anything that offends you, you are not going to insult him. You are not going to confront him. You find a nice way of finding somebody the teacher respects and talk to him and say, I felt offended by the example you gave. At my level, I sat in a meeting and the person was literally swearing at every word. And I found a very nice way of telling him, in my society, we don't do this. I know you pay my salary, but in my society, we don't swear when leaders are sitting in. But I had the arrogance to say it because of my level, right? But for you as a child, find the right way of communicating what you stand for. However, if you are in an environment where it is very toxic, my advice is walk away. That's it. You will not be able to change everything that people will believe in. You will not be able to influence how they talk about what you believe in. If it means so much to you, put a price on it and walk away.
Well, thank you very much. I don't know whether all the questions have been exhausted. I think you asked a question about...
On finances.
Yeah, on finances.
So if your parents are struggling, right? Like I said to you, you will not always have things the way people have them. So sometimes you'll be able to get to class 6 and you can't continue to JHS. Is that your end? Is there something you can do? Is there some trading you can learn at a certain point and then you get some resources? Is there an auntie who sells that you can sit with, make some money and then continue to school? Have the ambition that you want to continue, but it's your finances that have stopped you. I had to go and do my internship. Actually, my first internship, and I forgot to tell you, was with a radio mechanic, a technician. Because I couldn't even have anybody to hold my hand to go to the company who eventually trained me. So I went to the roadside. I lived in Latibia, question. I went to the roadside. The guy always repairs amplifiers. And I said, okay, me too, I don't know anybody. So this is internship, Christmas holidays. Can you teach me how to solder? What is a resistor? What is a capacitor? By the time I was coming back to school, I was feeling cool. That's me to have done something. So your circumstance shouldn't limit you. You don't have the money, but put in what can be done within the time. And then one day when you find the resources, you continue.
Thank you very much. And I think the last question, that if your parents deject you, how do you motivate yourself?
Okay. So let me just say a few words. So I just want to say something to buttress and add on to what Patricia just said regarding when there are financial problems at home and how, as young people, you can help yourself. So I had to endure that. You remember when I started, I told you that my mom was into all sorts of things, to the point that she, at a point, used to manufacture soap. I don't know, those of you who are old here, Don't Touch Me. You remember that soap? My mother was a manufacturer. So before I even came to do chemistry, I know saponification from my mother. As a result of that trade my mom was in, and I was with her, if you like, maybe her lead production manager. And I was in primary school. So I get up very early. After school, we have to kind of boil the whole soap, and then we set it up in the cases. Early in the morning, the traders are there to come and take them to the market. So you get up as early as 2 a.m. Yes, and we begin to cut the soap. I will cut soap from 2 a.m., sometimes 3 a.m., 1 a.m., all the way to about 7:30. I used to walk to school. So by the time I got to school, I was a habitual latecomer. I had that badge of honor, if it was an honor then. It's not an honor, don't go and get that one. I was always arriving late, and I thank God for the life of teachers. It took one of my teachers to go with me. He held my hand and went with me to see my mother, to talk to her. Look, this child can learn and be good, but by the time she gets to school, we've done most of the things. Can you give her a bit of time? I'm bringing the teachers in because of the role that you have and we have. And that visit of Mr. Mensah, may his soul rest in peace, changed the way my job card, as far as my mom was concerned, was designed. The point I'm making is that, look, you must be a helpful child or youth at home. These days, even when you are on vacation, you will sleep and sleep and sleep and sleep. You must be seen to be helpful. Even if it's not your parents themselves, auntie, somebody in the neighborhood. And just 2 or 3 weeks ago, when we did the support one needy student with 1 laptop donation here in this great hall, we heard a number of stories. One lady in the secondary school, St. Monica's, going out to talk to the ladies who sell on the campus. Can I carry your water to where you sell them so that you can give me something to help me stay in school? Yes, and that is how that girl, Rosina, small, gradually, she got into the university. When she got here, even accommodation, a lady who does kenke, again, help. Look, nobody says take your good news to somewhere else. In Akan we say, Obia anka for wasem pakodo. When there are financial problems at home, look out there for the right people and be serviceable. There are still kind people around who would not abuse you, but will be willing to support you. So I just wanted to add that one. Now, back to the issue of the leadership thing. I just want to say that, yes, when we talk about leadership, I always believe in self-leadership. You cannot have integrity when you are not self-disciplined. So you are right when you say, Madam, that you just can think that from where we've all gotten to, integrity is key on the agenda. That is very true. Because lead yourself. self-discipline. And you know, people will always do what people see. If you tell me to do A, and I see you doing B, that normally in normal human environments and societies, it doesn't work. So, self-discipline, self-leadership, leadership will always begin with me, Akosua, leading myself. And others can then have confidence to want to follow me. Otherwise, I will just be leading, but it will be like, if you like, taking a stroll in the park. Nobody will be, you turn and nobody is there following you. You are alone. Because they want to see it. That sticks with them. The issue of self-motivation. You are your number one cheerleader. Always remember that. You are your number one cheerleader. Yes, if you are lucky and you get other people externally cheering you up, go and look for God and thank Him. But self-inward cheering. Sometimes you just have to even mention your own name and say that, look, you have to deal with this. You need to look for help and be able to manage this. Everybody says it will not work, but I will try again. I'll try again. And don't think because situations are getting out of hand. Don't let any defeat you. No. But as I say that, let me be quick to add that, you know, sometimes, too, in life, and this is real, you just have to accept and embrace and cooperate with certain inevitables. For example, you heard some of the panelists say, and the Chancellor shared that she lost her mom at a very tender age. Some of us have those experiences. What can you, there's nothing you can do about it. Mom is gone. Prof. Ibokodro, Dad is gone. Does life come to an end? No. So, what do? You just have to cooperate and have peace with life and say that, look, it doesn't matter. I am not going to be the first person who has had to go through this. I'm going to get out of this. What do I need? So it comes back to the questions. What do I need to be able to lift myself out of this dungeon and then move on? And I can always assure you that help, provided you look for it, is always available. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. So since we're pressed for time, we'll take about 2 questions, then. Okay, so we have the first one here.
Please, my name is Akins Alexandra from St. Louis Senior High School. Please, my question is, as leaders in high society, how do you deal with people trying to pull you down or discourage you as you are in high society?
All right, thank you very much.
Good morning. Please, I'm the person of Professor Dr. Franklina. Professor Dr. Franklina. And my question is that my fellow female students will conclude with me that at this stage in life, one of our biggest challenges is male disturbing us. So my question is, how did you guys overcome the challenges of male disturbing you guys in your teens?
Thank you very much. Adeshe.
Okay, so my name is Babette Maria, a student from the Yasantua Girls Senior High School. And my question is a leader meant to serve or a leader meant to impress her people?
So we'll take the last question.
Thank you very much. My name is Peter Opoku from Driving Senior High School. I'm really happy for our students to get the opportunity today. Based on what you've told us so far, I think most of you had to sacrifice for your future. But the truth is that these days, students don't want to sacrifice. I'm saying this because, I don't know, we are having so many challenges in school. Since we are having a free SHS and we're having a lot of students in the school, most of them are there without knowing why they are even there. So I think that now that we've gotten the opportunity to listen to them, let's also be an ambassadors to go and inspire our colleagues who couldn't get the opportunity to be here. And again, I want to suggest that if you could also have a way to get parents involved in such kind of programs and activities, it will help. I'm saying this because most parents are not responsible at all, because we have witnessed one or two situations in school whereby students are being brought to school and it's more like they just leave the rest to the school and that of what they presume government. So please try to engage them as well for us. And lastly, I will also plead that if you could get some reading resources for our students to read on, because with this STEM thing, I think it's so technical, and students, most parents cannot afford to get the necessary, the adequate resources for their wards. So if you could do that, help to us too. Thank you.
Thank you very much for all the questions. So the panel can start answering the questions. We're done. Thank you. I think we have some questions also here.
All right, thank you very much. My name is Alexander Sebunsu. I'm a teaching assistant. So in the world that we currently live in, we are seeking to empower our women, right? We are seeking to get them into science and technology courses, get them motivated to take it, let them know that they too can achieve. But then, how do we do this without losing the balance, without losing our men too? Because I think that's a critical thing that we have to look at. We seek to empower our women, and then we neglect our guys. And it sometimes goes to lower the morale of the men. And then also, as a leader, how do you preserve your vision and manage the expectations of the people that are under you? Sometimes some people have very unrealistic expectations of you, and it becomes difficult because they are the people you've been called to serve. But you know the reality of the situation. You know that we do not have the funds to, let's say, build a new hostel, but everybody comes to you saying we should build a new hostel. How do you manage such expectations? And then also expectations of parents. As students, as we are now, as coming up in our academics, our parents, some of our parents have very unrealistic expectations of us. Like, because your dad is a doctor, they want to force you to be a doctor. Because your dad is a lawyer, they want to force you into law. How do you manage these expectations, and how do you get them to come to understand your point of view, or do you just agree and go along with it?
So I'd wanted to kaput the questions, but unfortunately, we have plethora of them. So please bear with us. Okay, so.
Thank you very much. I'm Akotochewa Doris. And there is always someone trying to say, as a woman, you don't have to get to this level, you have to behave this way. Even sometimes our parents, friends, teachers, pastors. So how do you deal with this? Do you have to try and educate them, or you just stay silent and live with it? Thank you.
Thank you very much. One more question. The questions are a lot. In fact, we can't help it. At a point in time, we would have to break.
My name is Mary Jane Fee, and I want to know how KNUST is sending science to the remote areas where there are no science laboratories.
That's a very good question.
My name is Ken Ford. Whilst I was listening to your inspirational words, I heard Mrs. Professor Melissa Noble saying failures need to source. Okay, my question now is, how are you going to take a critical examination on how to overcome such challenges and get you to the success?
Thank you very much.
Can you repeat
Prof,
the question?
Prof. Nobles, please, were you able to hear the question very well?
Can you repeat the question?
Okay. My question is, whilst Professor Mrs. Melissa Nobles was speaking, she said failures leads to success. 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 And I'm asking, how are you going to take a critical examination on how to correct the failures and lead you to success?
All right, so I have a question here. She says, she's asking, how would you know the kind people out there who will support you? That's a question she's asking. How would you know the kind people out there who will support you? How do you find them?
Please, my name is Amasewa, and my question is, as a leader, should your main goal be to satisfy the people you serve or to do what you do and do it to the best of your ability?
So, yes, please, as I said, we're pressed for time, and at a point in time, we'd have to kaput the questions, but we'll allow you this time around, but there will be no set of questions after these. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Please, I'm Rita La, Bosumche Education Office, Girl Child Officer. I'm very happy to be here. Actually, we are saying that the poor need to be helped. Actually, the rich also have problems. Coming to take this position as a girl child, I've realized that the rich also have problems. You see, some of the students, they have everything, but have no parents. Parents get up, chasing money, chasing what all that the children need, but they have no anything to keep them going. So I've been losing some of the children at my district who are rich people, rich students. They go out there, they don't have anybody talking to them, telling them about what they should do with their lives, how to focus on certain things. Then they listen to friends, go astray, and it ends them death. It's very sad. So please, I want you to address this for me so that the students will wake up from that thing. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam La.
Thank you. My name is Sonia. I'm a teaching assistant at the Electrical Engineering Department. My question is, what do you say to people who think gender affirmative action has put men at a disadvantage in today's society, in the sense that companies and institutions have lower qualifying standards for women, which gives them an unfair advantage? So for example, maybe you go for an interview and there are 6 men and you are the only woman. But then after the interview, you are the one who has been picked. But all you can get from the men is you were picked only because you are a woman. Yes, what do you do in such situations? Thank you.
Thank you very much. There is one more question here. Then we'll bring the questions to an end. Oh, sorry. I'll come in. Thank you.
All right, please, mine is a request. Since we have 3 generations of group here, we have the JHS, the SHS, the tertiary, and even our mature colleagues. Our concluding remarks will address the needs of all these generations so that they will be ambassadors when they leave. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So to our panel, these are myriad of questions. So we'll start with Engineer Obunai. Any other questions you can take?
All right, I will attempt a few and then I will. So the pull-down syndrome, where people try to pull you down, is the most painful thing you can experience as a leader. And especially when it's coming from somebody that you trust or you trusted. You would expect that the person will support you, help you, and then you find out that the same person is either saying bad things about you, and usually they are not true, or twisting some of the things that you have done and putting bad interpretation on this so that people will not like you. I think it's important not to dismiss it. A lot of people have said, oh, block your yes and move on. It will destroy you. So my advice is to confront it. I'm not saying go and fight it. Confront it. Find a decent way of letting the person know that you know what's going on. However, when it is a difficult situation where it is somebody above you who works against you, then this is where having a sponsor around the table is important. People have to know that you work hard, so that when somebody sits around the table and you are not there and the evaluation is going on, he can say what you are saying is not true. I know Patricia, she works hard. So getting your sponsor is important, and when you are available, dealing with the pull-down syndrome is very, very critical. The second one, if I remember, some of the things I wrote was on strategy, your vision, and managing the expectation of your team. I think there were 2 or 3 questions like that. It is important as a leader to be transparent from the start. I think sometimes we struggle and people come to us with high expectation because they don't know what is available and what you can do and not do. Our strategy was built by our organization. I went around the country and asked the people to put together what they believe will turn around Vodafone Ghana. We were very open and very transparent, and that strategy is written on every wall in the organization, so people know it. So what else are you going to ask of me when every quarter, in fact now I do it every month, I have a monthly call with the entire organization. I tell them the monthly performance and any challenges that we have. So when you're open and transparent with your team, you manage the expectation. People stop being unreasonable because they know the truth and they don't blame you for the difficulties that occur. I'll take one more and then I'll hand over to our distinguished panelists. One is with the affirmative action that the men are disadvantaged. It is not true. Every statistics, everybody who spoke here gave us one statistics or the other, 10%, 15%. How on earth can the 85% be disadvantaged? You go into companies, tell me very few companies are 50% women, 50% men. So we haven't even gotten to the point where the men will feel disadvantaged. We have a long way to go. We have been pushing the agenda to get more women in. And frankly, I feel offended when any woman gets a job and people think it's, if you're a woman and they give you a job because you're a woman, decline it. Because you will fail at a point. Be very sure that you are getting the job because you are competent. And if it's okay that they want more women and they give it to you, it's fine, but you must earn it. You must earn it. For me, that's important. Yeah.
I think I saw something about male disturbing the girls. Male disturbing the girls. It will not start today and end today. It has always been there. So as a lady, you have to have your own strategy to respond to this. Maybe because I was trained as grew up with guys. I used to hear what they talk about women. So I use that to navigate my way through the system. It's important you network and be friends with. We are supposed to relate. But in this relationship, we must define, have boundaries set. Are you getting it? That as for this, you cannot do this to me. And it has to be discussed as we relate. Let us not leave things to chance, because it will happen and happen again. I always, when my students come to tell me, oh, somebody is worrying me, I said, bring the person to my office and they will laugh. Because I just want to be a friend to that person and to ask. So for JHS, personally, I never thought of a boy-girl relationship at JHS. But it seems the system has changed. From primary school, people are relating. And yes, I'm told even mothers ask them to do that. Are you getting? Yes. Especially because of lack of money issues and so on. So I would say that the decision, whether you are in JHS, SHS, tertiary, matured, every day we take decisions. So from what we have discussed today, when you leave here, write down what you want to see yourself like in the future. In about 5 years' time, 10 years' time, JHS, where do I want to see myself in? So when these males are coming around and they are not interested in where you want to be, then your decision will be informed properly and you say it. For me, because I can't do my face like this when people are talking to me, I look you straight. When they used to do that, then they say, you are not a woman. I say, what should I do? They expected when you say you're beautiful, then I will say, when they say you are, oh, you look so beautiful, how you are this, they think I should begin to respond. Oh, okay. No, I will put my face straight on you. I say that I know I'm beautiful. Thank you. No one should tell you your word beautiful on the face value. He must understand that you know it yourself, that you're so beautiful, so you can play with the beauty like me. And I end there. So male chasing you would not end today, nor will it start. So you have to take a decision how you will respond. Sometimes they even say, hey, grace of God. These things, even while you're old, you are still people who come around to do that. So you must know that, yes. Then the other one is reading resources. Reading resources. I think that we need to support a lot of these things. I know there's a school at RC, Ayeduasi. There's a school there, the Catholic school. And they decided that I should be a role model for a section. And I discovered there's no book in the school for learning. But I also think that change the materials for teaching, and the materials are not ready for the student to. Please, if you're here, those days, when the first one finishes, he passes the book to the, it was something we transfer. Even your box to school, you give it to your brother, your books. But it's like nowadays, our books, we turn them around and put in our pocket and disfigure them. So the next person comes, doesn't have anything to read. So a bit of self-leadership will allow us to pass on our materials, our used materials, to the next person in the family. Things are hard, so we should not destroy books. But I also think that we are working to make sure that people get books. But I also notice that we don't read again. So it's one thing to get books. there's another thing for people to read. Reading, it means that we have to put it online. But I don't even know if the student will read online. Yesterday, there was a young lady here when we finished. She asked me that she's going to buy some books. People are ready to give books. But I'm asking myself, would that solve the problem? Because the reading strength has gone down. It means we have to. When I was young, they will give you a book to read. Then you come to school and you tell the teacher what you read. You show it. So that helps your reading and your speaking to improve. So we need to do that. And the last one I will tackle is parents being involved. I think we have come to, whether it is from JHS to SSH to taking clue from the RC school, I have concluded that most parents are not interested in the schooling. They have other things they are interested in. Why do I say so? I decided that I will have a small class for those going to write BCE for my section. So I took all the names of the parents. And funny, when I called this question, are they going to pay? Are they going to pay? So now I have to keep telling them, no payment, no payment. Then they will say, oh, God bless you, thank you. It tells you that we have to go beyond that. So I think that maybe we should organize inspiring parents for the next generation. Maybe we should think of that, to bring parents here, to inspire them, to take care of what? The next generation. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much. Bob, I'd wanted us to end it here, but unfortunately, I've received 2 questions, and these are very compelling. So if you can quickly answer them for us, we'll be very happy. So my question is, if you do not take the field of science and its related courses, does it mean you are not part of this STEM program? And 2, maybe you want to enter into medicine and stuff, but you come from a very poor background. And as we all know, that pursuing such programs, one have to get money aside intelligence. One of the panelists said that we should depend and believe in ourselves. But there's a case where when you are helped by the opposite sex, the person expects something from you. How should you go about this, depending on yourself or for others? So those are the 2 questions.
Please take the questions again.
So the first one is, my question is, if you don't take the field of science and its related courses, does it mean that you are not part of this STEM program? I think Prof. Ibok or Prof. Dixon, perhaps. And the second one is, maybe you want to enter into medicine and stuff, but you come from a very poor background. And as we know, that pursuing such programs, you need to get money aside intelligence. And there's a case where if you are soliciting help from the opposite sex, they expect something from you. What should you do? Should you still depend on them? Those are the 2 questions.
Should you still depend on who?
Well,
okay. Yeah, go.
Well, the first one is a question that if you don't do the science subject, can you still be part of a STEM program? One is that there's no course that doesn't have science in it. I've always said it. If I'm doing metal, or I'm doing fashion, I'm doing the art drawing artist, everything there, the colors I will use, all that, that's a small component of what? Science. So that really, sometimes I see science in everything, and that makes you very relaxed about it. So for our system, because it's straitjacket, it makes it difficult, because when you start science, it's like you have to end with science, all those things. But in other places, You can do science and do arts and do fashion, everything, and finally your decision will help you get to where you want it. So there's different diverse pathways. We, the chemist, talks about pathways. So there are different pathways to go back to your science if you want to. The ball will be in your court. If today I didn't do science, and I think business, and he did business in the school to write exam, but then during KNUST-TEK, he did the science. So these are people who have taken decision and have planned their pathways, and so they know this is what. So he came in here to do chemistry. You can also have that choice. And you can finish what you're doing now, those in the tertiary, and then you then decide to choose what you want to do. You can learn until the opportunity to learn is always there. I don't know if I have answered your question. The second one, I have had a lot of students talk about finance. I've always believed that finance should be the last thing people think about, because maybe this is my mindset. I remember when I lost my parent, everybody in the house think that I should do nursing, because in nursing they will pay you some small allowances. Are you getting it? So the family called me and said I should do that. But the good news was that another group called and says, what exactly do you want to do? And I told them, I want to do. So I did chemistry first degree, chemistry second degree, which people don't like at all. But I see chemistry because I cook. I love cooking. So in cooking, I'm combining different chemicals, if I call them so, to produce a tasty meal. So, so I enjoyed doing that. So I told them I wanted to do science. I believe that your mindset has a magnetic power. That's why I'm talking about mindset. If you have not worked on your mind, begin to put in things. I know you people love religion, so I will quote that passage. He says, as a man thinketh, so he is. If you think you want to go to school, that has a power of attracting people to you. And that's what happened to me. People started giving me opportunity to go to school. So sometimes I had to ask myself, which one should I choose? Because I wanted to be educated. And that attracted people. So I live with people. From when I lost my parents, so I'm somebody by 4, I'm up. I live with people, serving them. And I couldn't serve them without them also supporting me. What I noticed with this generation is that service is not part of their core values. My core value, one of them, is service. And that has attracted people to me. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. Seriously, I just want to break and go, but I'm having so many questions here. But these are 3 questions, and perhaps if you can answer it for us. It says that how can you collaborate with people who are less understanding? And how can you avoid relationships with close people who cause harm to your education? And the other question is, what strategies of learning did you see as very effective and has helped you make it to this point? What learning strategies? And please, I wanted to ask that from your childhood, I wanted to be an engineer, and I wanted to feel and move. I wanted to be an engineer, but when it was introduced to the course at the SHS level, she lost interest because there was no practical. If it was you, what are you going to do? So for the first question, how can you collaborate with people who are less understanding, and how can you avoid relationships with close people who cause harm to your education?
Thank you very much. Let me just say a few words to that. So life will continue to be about choices. At any given time, you're being here from morning to this time, either your leaders chose to bring you, or even when they said come, you could have had all the excuses why you don't want to be here. But once you're here, it means that you decided to be here. Life is about choices, and it will continue to be so. I'm so sorry, but I cannot assure you that it will change anytime soon. Therefore, the fact that whether as a student, as staff, as a leader, you will not get, what do you call it, everybody choosing to like or love you. It's normal. In fact, if you get everybody to do that, then it means you are challenging Jesus. He even didn't get that. So don't be overwhelmed by that. It is absolutely normal. And the way to deal with such situations, personally, I have grown to know, is to go by the biblical suggestion, which is, as long as it depends on you. Note that phrase very well. As long as it depends on you, live at peace with everyone, including yourself. You are one of the everyones. So in a situation where you do all that you can, and those people will continue to be with us, whether you like it or not. Give all the love that you can, do everything. He or she, in fact, he or she is allergic to all that you are doing. In that instance, move on and give that person space. And if you believe in God and you believe in prayer, pray also for that person. The question, what was the second one again? Learning strategies. So again, I will come back to the choice. There are a lot of learning strategies, and different learning strategies work for different people. Some people learn when they are in groups. Others are sole proprietors. You know sole proprietorship? In that little corner. But these days, corporate learning is working better than sole proprietorship. Because you see, when you listen, and especially in the higher education institutions, where if you are not fortunate, you may not be able to read everything. But when you are in a group, and I would think it should extend to you also at the senior high school and maybe the JHS, where somebody has read that, the other person read, and then you all come together. So yes, have some time to yourself, learn on your own, but also have space where you come together as teams, as groups, and then you ask questions. And please don't be that, you know, sometimes in a group, you have certain category of people in that learning group. Number one, stenographer secretaries. You know those people? They are ready to listen and write it quickly. They have nothing to say. As you are saying, they are writing. No. There are kings and queens who cross their legs majestically. Other people should go and do the research and bring the information. Even when you are in a group and the work is given, you have targeted certain people. Oh, for so long as Kofi Amma, yeah, Rose is their God-given role.
You see, the whole essence of having that corporate group discussion is to be able to pick those minds, you see, and add it to yours. So bring out, sometimes what you have in there is not good or are not correct until you bring them out for them to correct it for you. That is what you go and write on the answer or in the answer booklet for us. And then when you come out of the exam, so how did it go? Oh, you know what you normally say. And then when it comes. So the various styles. But let's embrace all the various, and then you choose which one works for me and put more energy there. Once I have the microphone, let me quickly also add. So putting, how do we manage the boys as ladies, teens? And thank you, Prof, the way you went about it. And also the question that the lady asked about parenting and how parents are becoming less, you know, interested in the education of their children. Madam teacher, good. I don't think that parents are less interested. I think it is the environment that parents, and I'm a parent and we have a lot of parents, find themselves, where we are getting up early in the morning, rushing them to school, quickly to work, spend all the time, both mother and father. Pick them in the evening. It's the kind of dynamics. So how do we, even in the midst of all these challenges, make sure that we're having time with the students? So quickly, the issue of, Madam told you that you must ask yourself, why am I in this school? In fact, why am I even on earth? When you realize that that boy is carrying on, ask yourself, you see, when purpose, let me make this statement, when purpose is not known, abuse is inevitable. You're not even sure what you want to do. So anybody can just take you, and it happens all the time. You don't have any planned timetable for your life. That is why when you close from school, during the day, you don't even know when I close, I'm supposed to go home. When I finish, I do my homework. The plan, the purpose for you, you are not clear on that. So anybody can come in and abuse you. But when you know why you are here, what I want to do, I want to become this person. It's a choice. I want to do it. And when that boy begins to appear and dangle certain things before your eyes, which will lead to a teenage pregnancy, you look straight into those two eyes and you tell him, the last time I reviewed the list of the things that I need to do to become that lawyer, teenage pregnancy was not on the list. So leave me alone. That is what you do. You must do that. And as parents, let me also say this. And Madam, thank you for reassuring them that they are beautiful. In fact, I can confirm that you are. Parents, can we be those people that our girls, for the first time, hear from us that phrase, I love you. I love you. I love you. You know, that is what they tell them. And then the hormones, the chemistry, crazy. Every morning, if you are walking with them to school, if you are driving them, whatever you are doing, at home, over the weekend, sing that phrase into your girl's head. You know what, Ekuya? I love you. Yes. Oh, yes. So when Ekuya hears that from Kojo, it is not the first time. So she's not crazy about that. You love me. Mommy tells me that one. And especially our fathers. You see, they are hearing that from the boys. Mommy will tell Ekuya, Amma, yeah, I love you. But when Amma, yeah, Rose, Mary hears "I love you" from daddy, it carries a different weight. It does. It does. So fathers, please let your daughters, if they should hear that phrase, let the first one come from you. I think that I'll pause here. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you so much. So, I think some last words, perhaps from Professor Melissa Nobles. Yes. And perhaps you can answer this question. How do you wonderful women overcome tiredness, especially when you are learning? Some brain fog. How do you overcome that when you are learning? Tiredness when you are learning. Yeah, fatigue. Fatigue when you are learning.
Oh, fatigue?
Yes.
Wait a minute. I'm trying to understand. How do I overcome fatigue for what, hon? From working?
From learning.
From learning?
Yes.
I never get tired of learning. You can never study enough. You can never study enough. We're in a world competition. A good student is a good student here, in the United States, in England, in China, in France, wherever. A good student is a good student. So as we've been saying this whole time, there's a choice. There's a choice between whether you want to study or not. There's a choice whether you want to look at that stupid boy or not. There's a choice. And the choice is, by that I mean, girls, study. Don't let guys and other things try to distract you from what it is that you need to do. We've all said that. A good student is a good student. That goes for everyone in this room. So all I can say, I never get tired of studying. I never get tired of learning. It's always better to know than not to know. And you have a choice on whether you want to study or not. Whether you open up a book or not is your choice. So I say, study.
It's been a beautiful panel discussion. I, for one, have learned a lot. So we'd like to take your final words. What would you like to tell us? And someone also brought up addressing the different generations here. We'd like to hear from you.
Yes, it's been a lovely day, and thank you for having us and for your insightful questions as well. So let me address the JHS students here. Are you listening? Okay. My JHS and SHS students about to move one level to the other. What will move you from that stage to the next? It's not whether you like science, you like maths, you like history, it's your grade. You have 6 subjects or 7 subjects you are supposed to do well and pass. Prof. Melissa said, study hard. That's all you have to, that's the only requirement. Just pass. This is not the time to decide in class 2 whether you want to be a doctor or not. It will sort out itself later. Because even if you like science and you fail, without study, you are not going to move to SHS. I hope you get me. So from SHS, JHS, moving to SHS, what will take you to that next level is your grade. In fact, what will bring you into KNUST is your grade. So do not kid with, okay, I saw scientists on stage, so I want to be a... If you fail and your grades are not good, you will kill the science dream. One of the best sales guys I've worked with, his university program was in rural development. When he left university, he studied other things, built on it, but he had acquired the knowledge. His brains were open enough for him to build on the knowledge that he has acquired. Doing well and excelling in school is the minimum ask I have of you from JHS, SHS, even at university. Now, when you are in the university, especially second year, in fact, third year and final year when you're about to leave, people have been asking questions of, I don't know anybody, I don't know. You will know them from here. When you leave school, you will not find them. Know them. When we say build meaningful relationships, it's on campus. Know his father, know his mother, know what they do, so that tomorrow when you want your driver's license, you call Kwesi because Kwesi's father works at DVLA. Life is about relationships.
And this is when you have a close family. You are in Queen's Hall, that was my hall. You are in Queen's Hall, you see them, you know them. So you build the friendships here. It is valuable. The internship, I had nobody, I didn't know anybody. It was because I told a friend who knew the CTO of TIGO, who knows a friend who knows the CTO of TIGO, who held my hand and said, go there at this time, he will meet you. Relationships are important, and it is on campus that you build the best of relationships. A more general one, for parents and adults who are here, I plead with you. You have lived life. Everybody has a story. And you don't know the impact you will make on somebody's life if you're able to tell the story. You don't need to wait for this platform. The person lives in your house. She goes to, you sit in a car with her. She's in your class, you teach her. Can you invest in the life of somebody, a young child? It will pay back. That's how you make impact. And then a final general statement. And I think the Bible sums it up well for all of us. If you look at creation, and at the time when God created everything and then created man, and he gave him a job to sit down and name the animals, it was at that time he looked at him and said, it is not good for you to be alone. I will create a help that is suitable for you. There's enough space for women in this world. The reason why he didn't say it is he has finished, and he took his time to create us. And you know how he created us? He put them to sleep, took their rib and created you. You are special. You are a very special person as a woman, and God didn't end creation until he created you. So as Professor Dixon said, ask why you are not dead. Ask why you are alive. There's a reason why God is keeping you here. So don't disappoint God. Thank you.
Okay. What I will say, because if I move from JHS, SHS, tertiary, maturity, work life, I see them as seasons. I see them as what? Seasons. And you must appreciate these seasons. You must appreciate that there's a season to study, there's a season to work, and that when those seasons passes, it becomes a challenge. So therefore, each season and time has his strategies. Has his what? Strategies. It is in that environment of learning that you pick these strategies to move on. And in picking those, which is choices you have to make, it means that I would say you have to choose to be an example. You have to choose to be what? Be an example at JHS level, SHS level, tertiary level, work life. You must be an example. So I always tell my students, prepare to be preferred. If these stages, you prepare very well at each of them, when you stand in the society, your brand will be very clear. And so I encourage you to take that as a choice in your conversation, in the love, and in your purity. Be an example. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I think a lot has been said, and just to conclude with what I have to say, let me say that it's been wonderful having this conversation. I just want to say that, you know, again, life will continue to be about choices. And when you get, you will decide how the opportunities that are thrown at you, you want to utilize them. Now, one of the things that you, as young people, you need to look out for, and for you to be able to actually leverage on and embrace what you are on earth to do, is to, because if you are in school,
you're learning, and one of the ingredients that you need as a student is wisdom. You need wisdom. And the source of wisdom that we have all grown to know is who? Is who? So the fear of God, the fear of God. So anytime you have to make those choices, the right judgments, decisions, what do I do in this circumstance? My friend wants me to do this. He wants us to go here. Ask yourself, this action, is it contributing to what children, the youth who fear God do? Ask yourself. And it's important, my children, that you surround yourself with the right people, the right friends. And it is key that as time goes on, from time to time, you even do an evaluation. Just like you are in school. When the term is over, we don't say, okay, bye-bye, you have done well, just go. No. We write exams to see whether you have qualified to move on. Same way, let your friends write exams about whether they qualify to continue to be your friends or not. Surround yourself with the right people. And if you realize that there is this friends of mine who are getting me into this trouble all the time, tell them, refer them to that list I told you about. You see, my friend, I love you so much, but I just checked my list of why I'm here. But this thing that you have been asking me to do this term is not part of that boxes I want to tick. So thank you very much. See you later. Do that. As I conclude, let me say that please, and I like to refer to the Bible again, whatever your hands finds doing. You want to conclude it for me? Do it well. Whatever your hands finds doing, whatever your hands finds doing. This is Ecclesiastes chapter 9, verse 10. Please, you are studying. That is your job. Your parents, we get up in the morning, we bath, and we go, and we earn money, we look after you. Your job is to study. Do you so promise that you will do this well and build your career path? Finally, let me leave you with a question. And especially to all of you, boys and girls, anytime you get self-doubt, fright, scary things coming your way, just pause and ask yourself, if I was not scared, what could I have done? If I was not afraid, what can I achieve? And let that just quickly boost your confidence code and just go all out there and get it. Thank you so very much.
I really have nothing more to add to all of the wisdom that we've heard here today. So I just want to thank everyone so much for this very warm welcome that I've gotten here in my time in Kumasi. Thank you so much. Thank you to my panelists. It's been wonderful. Students, I expect you all to do well. I look forward to hearing about all the great things that are happening from the young people of Ghana. Thank you.
All too soon, we've come to the end of the panel discussion. It's been a beautiful time. I'd like to excuse our distinguished panelists. Thank you. We are coming to the end of the program so soon. I'd like to invite my SRC president, your SRC president, our SRC president, His Excellency Frank Owusu, to come and give us a note of appreciation.
Wow. Efia, thank you. Good afternoon. The Vice Chancellor of the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, Professor Mrs. Rita Akusia-Dixon, the Chancellor for the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, Professor Melissa Nobles, the President for Western, Professor Mrs. Ibok Odro, the CEO for Vodafone Ghana, Engineer Mrs. Patricia Obonai, Provost President, Directors Present, Deans, lecturers, students, friends, those who are watching us on social media, we welcome all of you. I think today, if Kwajiagri is in his grave and he's standing, he will of course be very happy. Because this man once said many years ago that if you educate a man, you educate an individual. But if you educate a woman, you educate a whole generation. Today, we witness and experience a whole generation. And for me, I call them a generation of first. Because we saw the first Vice Chancellor of KNUST, who is a female. We saw the first Chancellor of MIT, who is a female of color. We saw the first female CEO for Vodafone Ghana. And we saw the first Provost for the College of Science, who is a female. And they came to the #1 university in terms of quality education. So today is a day of first. And this morning, ladies and gentlemen, I was listening to one of my favorite reggae musicians. His name is Peter Tosh. And Peter has a famous song, and the lyrics of the song says, it doesn't matter where you come from, it doesn't matter your race, your color, or whatever. So far as you are a black man, you are an African. In the year 2019, the President of the Republic of Ghana launched a program which became an international program called the Year of Return. This was to commemorate 400 years of slaves moving from Africa to the Americans. And this saw a lot of people coming to Ghana to experience the rich culture of the nation. And after 2019, in the year 2020, we had Beyond the Return. So from that time till now, we've had blacks and people from all walks of life coming to Ghana to experience the rich culture of our nation. And as I was thinking about it, I remember what was said by President Bill Clinton when he was invited to Nigeria in 1999 during the inaugural ceremony of President Olusegun Obasanjo. And he said something very profound. This is what he said, that in the 21st century, the calibration of a nation's wealth will not be determined by what lies under the feet of its citizens, but rather what lies between the ears of the citizens. A lot of people come from abroad and they bring a lot of things. Some come with money, others come with sports, some come with entertainment. But today, our mother, our sister, our auntie, and our professor came, and she came with knowledge. She came with the greatest treasure we can all think about. Professor Melissa Nobles, we say thank you. Thank you for the gift of knowledge. And the university community is so proud of you. In KNUST, our chancellor is a king. His name is Nana Otumfuo Osei II. And as I was reading about Professor Melissa, I realized she was born on a Monday. And in Ghana, Monday borns are called Ajua. So yesterday, I saw my vice chancellor dress you nicely. She gave you a portrait and then a kente piece and then a scarf. As an SRC, we are adding one thing to it. Because you are chancellor and you are here, we are also adding Ajua to your name. And just like how our chancellor is a king, we believe you are the queen in MIT. So you are Nana Ajua. so as you leave here, we will call you Professor Nana Ajua Melissa Nobles. We are so grateful for the time you spent with us. For me, what I took home yesterday when I was listening to your lecture was the fact that if we are able to effectively combine the arts with the science, we will get the technology that we need. And that is something I believe all of us should take home. It's not only about the sciences, but the effective combination of art and science, the pure science, the applied sciences, with art will give us the technology that we need. And our students of KNUST, we are so much grateful. See, when you come to KNUST and then it's around the month and it gets to 24th and 25th, there is a particular message that whenever students see this message, we all become happy. And this is the message. You have received a new bundle allocation. You have received 200 minutes of Vodafone, 200 minutes of call to Vodafone lines, 100 minutes to other network, 5,120 megabytes of data, and 50 SMS with no expiry. In the world of data, in the world of internet, we can't do it without data. And I believe that students of KNUST, we are so much grateful to this woman. Vodafone Ghana has been a blessing to us. And whenever I get to the 24th and 25th, and we see the notification on our phones that our bundles have been renewed, we owe all the thanks to Mrs. Patricia Obonai. Mami, thank you so much. And she doesn't only give us bundle. Whenever we invite her to come and have time with us, she does so, and we are so much grateful unto her. The first time I remember I attended an ICC as an SRC president, there is this woman I saw, and I was so much impressed. And from that day till now, I can only describe her by saying, I shall be there no matter what. There is no SEC I've attended without seeing her. And to see a professor who likes God so much gives me so much joy. Professor Mrs. Abogodo, God bless you so much for your guidance, for your leadership, and we are so much grateful. Here in USC, we are defined by a lot of things. But there are two things that I believe very strongly that it comes into mind whenever you mention the name that I'm about mentioning. Leadership and entrepreneurship. It is evident in the fact that she has established an executive leadership school for the senior members of the university, and she helped with the junior members of the students to establish a school of leadership and coaching. As if it wasn't enough, this year, through her leadership and guidance, on the 27th of July this month, the SRC will be giving to students 300,000 Ghana cedis as support to the entrepreneurs within the SRC and the university as a whole. Professor Mrs. Akosia Dixon is a mother who has his sons and daughters at heart, a mother who is always there no matter what, and I believe she deserves a round of applause. And to bring my thoughts to a close, the staff, the management, the students of the university, and the university community at large want to say thank you. Thank you to all those who have made this program a success. And I would like you to join me as I open into the hymnal, the anthem of the university, the second stanza. When it reads, stony the road we trod, bitter the chastening rod, felt in the days when the hopes unborn had died, yet with a steady beat have not our weary feet come to the place for which our fathers sighed. We have come over a way that with tears have been watered. We have come, treading our path through the blood that slaughtered. Out of the gloomy past, till now we stand at last, where the white gleam of our bright star is cast. On this note, all we say is that please stay strong. Please do no wrong. Please stay long to where you belong. This is KNUST, and here is hallowed ground. God bless you.
Thank you very much, Frank. And before I move on to acknowledge the schools present here, I'd like to acknowledge the first female professor of optometry, Professor Angela Ofebia Amedo. Please, shall we acknowledge her? Yes. All right, so we have a DJMF Senior High School here. We have Adventist Girls Senior High School. Efia Kubiampem Senior High School. We have Agric Ezema Senior High School. Asantaman Senior High School. Ayeduasi Junior High School. We have Bosomtwe Girls Senior High School. We have Jamana Kenten Senior High School. Efijasi Senior High Technical School. Good Shepherd Junior High School. We have Jabin Senior High School. And also KNUST Senior High. Konongo Odumase High School. Kumasi Academy Senior High School. And we also have here the Kumasi High School, Kumasi Technical University. We have St. Louis Senior High School. We have Tia Media Senior High School. We have Yasantua Girls High School. We have one from the Girl Child Officer. And also we have KSTU Women in Engineering and also Women in Engineering Ashanti. Let's give a round of applause for them. Shall I compare thee to a summer's day, thou more lovely and more temperate? Rough ways you shake the darling bars of May, but summer's leaves has too short a date. Sometimes the eye of heaven shines, and often is a good complexion dimmed, and every fair from fair declines by chance or nature's course untrimmed. But thy eternal summer shall not fade, nor lose possession of the fairest that always, nor shall death brag thy wanderers in the shade, for in these eternal lines to time thou growest. So far as men can breathe and eyes can see, so long as this gives life and this gives life today, I'd like to thank all of you for making it to this occasion. Thank you so much, and God bless you. We would invite the Catholic. Yes, we will invite the Catholic chaplain, Reverend Anthony, now to give us the closing prayer. Thank you so much.
May I please beg your indulgence to please rise for prayers. Your children don't want to go. Let us pray. Our help is in the name of the Lord who made heaven and earth. Almighty and ever-living God, we are so much grateful to you for the gift of our lives. We thank you for this day, an enlightening moment for each and every one of us gathered here. We thank you for the gift and life of Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, the hub of quality education. We thank you for these blessings upon our management, staff, and students. And we pray you that you grant us more of such favors that we may be able to do more for humanity. We thank you for KEEP, the KNUST Engineer Education Project. We thank you for real, responsible artificial intelligence. And we thank you for the leadership of this College of Engineering. We thank you for all that you use them to accomplish in the life of humanity. It is our prayer that you continue to strengthen them, that they may do more for each and every one of us here. We thank you for our resource personnel. We thank you for the gift of their life, their experiences, their achievement, and what you have used them to do in the life of many, and for using them to inspire us today. It is our prayer that all that they have shared with us, we become ambassadors of these intelligence, these wisdom, these ideas wherever we find ourselves. And may we also have in us that yes, we can, and with God's blessings and favors, He will surely lead us to the end. We thank you for the planning committee, the organizers, and all those who have worked behind the scene to make this occasion a reality. May God continue to bless and guide and keep all of us. For our guests and for all those who are here with us, as we journey back, we pray for journey mercies upon ourselves, that wherever we may be, God will continue to bless the work of our hands, will bless our intentions, will bless our families, and will bless us in all that we do. May God carry us on eagle wings and lead us to our destination safely and sound. These and many blessings we ask through Christ our Lord. Amen.
Thank you very much, Reverend Father Na. So all students should remain seated after the program, and there's going to be a photo session. So if the various groups can come forward, and once they take the photo, they exit to their vehicles. And also the special guests and senior members will be hosted at the Vice Chancellor's Lodge immediately after this meeting. My name is Emmanuel Kwesi Deborah, and I did this with Deborah Boache, the Vice President of the Student Representative Council. Thank you so much, and God bless you.
So please, we will gather for the photo session.
So do it, so it's one school, Sadia, so then we'll do it this way. So Adujemfi Senior High will come first. You take your photo, then when you're done, you go to your vehicles. I think that's how we're going to do it. I think one school. So 3 schools, I think we'll combine 3 schools. Adujemfi Adventist. Okay, so we have Adujemfi, we have Adventist Girls Senior High School, and Efiakobi Ampem Girls Senior High. You can come forward and take the photo. So please come forward, Adujemfi Adventist, and Efiakobi Ampem. We have a vehicle here with registration AS 5615.